Hoosier Sophisticate show begins in 1 minute.
It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Question all the things that you know. Steve likes the weed. Steve likes the weed. By DMT. The DMT. Hoosier Sophisticate Show. The Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Hoosiers with the drink. Sophisticated blasphemy. It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Question all the things that you know. So let's set our minds free for the singularity. It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. The Hoosier Sophisticate Show.
Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, non-binary, sentient artificial intelligence, flora and fauna alike, to the Hoosier Sophisticate Show.
Craig almost had a meltdown.
Steve, what a week. What a week, bud. What a week, buddy.
What a night, what a day, what a week, what a time to be alive. I also would like to I'd like to shart all over myself.
Well, naturally.
But I would like to start the show. Our girl Aubrey's going through some tough times. The Matthews family, it really puts things into perspective about fighting and never giving up, and just there's shit going on, and the personal lives of people are still going on with all of the other chaos going on. Mm-hmm. So if you take 30 seconds, just maybe say a little positive affirmation or prayer, whatever you want to call it, put it out into the abyss for Aubrey Matthews, the Matthews family. We're with you. The Hoosiers got your back, anything you need. But yeah, what a week, man. What a week. Craig went to the Hoosier Oasis.
I did. A little Hoosier hideout. It was a good old time. Really appreciate you letting us go down there. Got a chance to meet the neighbor.
Dennis. Dennis is a good man.
Dennis is a good old dude, man.
He's a good man. Aubrey Strong.
Not even kind of what I expect. When you were telling me about Dennis, the guy that lived there, I had an image in my brain, and this guy was not that. No, he was wonderful. He was a sweetheart. All kinds of stuff doing, but we had a real fun time down there celebrating Landon's 13th birthday. He got a couple of buddies down in the woods. Spent the morning at Cedar Hill Park down at Morse Mill, like doing a little swimming.
This jackwad was pulling smallies out and sending me pictures of these kids with all these smallies, man. All these bronze backs. All these. I went out there in the morning specifically. I'm gonna pull them out, baby. I didn't catch a damn thing.
Yeah.
I was trying.
I got skunked too.
I was trying different bait. Trying new things. Now that I know that crawdad's working.
Dude, that crawdad. Bounce that little crawdad off the rocks, man. They like it.
This is from Sweet Leaf.
They're a
sponsor.
sponsor.
You can smoke. You can smoke a little bowl out of that if you want.
Take a little hit, take a little tug, put it down. Sweet Leaf makes it possible.
Sweet Leaf stomp.
Sweet Leaf stomp. Mike, say hi to everybody.
Hey, everybody. How y'all doing tonight?
We got any comments we should read right out the gate?
Oh, I was going to jump straight to the CBD and show everybody.
Oh, please do.
Boom. There we go. Okay.
That's pretty good.
Nice.
To
tell you, this is going to be the new thing. Before we try and entertain you, we're going to just get our endocannabinoid system right. Steve likes it on top of the tongue.
No, I don't. I like it underneath it.
I like it underneath my tongue. I wasn't really, that was somewhat awry.
Oh, yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Mike, you want me to do you?
Oh, yeah.
Let me do you. Let me do get Oh,
Okay.
yeah, we can see him. We can see him
Now-
off cam.
now-
It's off cam.
That's okay.
Now, our brains should be firing. We're experiencing a little bit more, a better homeostasis.
Peek it. I peeked the mics. I peeked the mics.
I hope so. I would
mics.
think so. I would think so. What's going on this week,
Steve looked very comfortable taking that CBD.
He did,
Forget
he did.
you, man. Baby bird time. Mike, what's up, everybody? What up, boys?
Hey,
What
y'all.
up, John? Hendricks, Rachel Marie, everybody's here. We love the Hoosier family, the Hoosier Oasis. We need ideas from you guys. We need, because we got some events coming up, and we want this to be the place that, you know how Airbnb and Hip Camp, they're all starting to just rent out land. Maybe just a little structure, but land that you can go out and it's like, yeah, it's $10, $25 a night. Go out there, you're away from everything a little bit. Okay, perfect. Well, we thought, why don't we do that? Get Airbnb and Hip Camp out of the way. Come talk to Craig and I. We'll hook you up. You go out there for the weekend. Do whatever you got to do. Craig and I might show up. That's how we make friends. We force them into being friends with us. Sure. We'll make you camp in Cedar Hill, and we'll find you, and we'll become friends with you. That's what we do.
That's
it's
what we
fine.
do. Yeah.
So we'll go over there. We figure a little bit of fishing, figure a little bit of cooking, just putting your toes in the water, in the rocks, in the sand, in the glass, just whatever you want to do out there. We're trying to figure out whether we want to do a little permaculture out there.
Yeah.
Which you just filled me in that you kind of build like a food
forest,
area.
man.
Food forest,
Miss and I are trying to do
man.
it with our house, but I think it could
wanna
be
do
really
that.
cool, like to be a place, a little Hoosier hang where people can kind of add something to it every time they go,
Yeah,
and,
yes.
and leave it a little bit better. I'm juiced about it.
I wanna plant some shade trees
It worked
out there.
It worked out pretty nice because we went swimming at the park, which I would normally not want my kids swimming in that particular stretch of the big river. It's pretty treacherous, but it's got kind of a swell that comes
Oh, where
back.
the Cedar Hill Park is?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, where
dude,
Morse
they're
Mill
pulling
is.
bodies
Yeah,
out of there all the time.
Well, yeah, I got
not
a
even
story on
kidding.
that. So, yeah, that's not a joke.
No,
so
like-
I was, telling the parents who were coming along, like, listen, all your kids are going to be life jacketed up. We're going to make sure that there's adults for
Yeah,
each
Craig's
one of them.
in charge.
Yeah, we're going to have an adult for each
Hit me
one
with
of them.
hit
and
me
we're
with a
gonna make
fucking
sure-
close up.
we're
Hey, no worries. Craig's in charge of the kids.
Hey, they're calling it Who Camp. Who Camp.
Who camp?
Who camp?
Who camp?
I could do that.
camp.
I could do that.
like
I could
it.
do
I like
camp.
it.
You don't
Good-
have
good
to
one.
do yours close up every time I do a close up, Craig. I'm gonna immediately go to yours too.
Hey, that looks like the picture you took the other day. And thought of him.
So we go down there. We start our day. We go get some swimming in. The kids are digging a big old hole in the sandy beach. They're going to try and make a hot tub.
Oh,
They're going to
nice.
try and make a hot tub. They're just, whatever. They're
Oh,
having
Jesus
a great
Christ.
little day.
Craig's
out
out
of it.
there like, hey, boys, why don't you build me a hot tub
That's
out
exactly
here?
right. I'm trying to get oiled up. So we went out there. All that was cool. Ended up going back to the land. This generation of kids, I'm going to be the old dotard for a minute here. Like they have a hard time with the separation between them and technology and their phones and everything. TikTok is everything.
Here's the deal.
YouTubers are everything. I have no problem
I
with
played those when I went camping. My dad got me that baseball. It was all-star
Yeah.
baseball. So I think I encourage my kids to take breaks with that shit and say, go watch a half an hour of a movie, veg out in your tent for a minute.
Yeah.
Don't fucking make me have to get you out of here, though. Don't make me have to get you out of here. So that's where it all comes in. If I think they have a nice balance of it, I won't fuck with them. But if I don't think they do, I'll kill them. No, I think they're in a different world, man. Where tech, science, and nature are quickly. I want to buy this fishing kayak where I'm
Right,
like, Jesus
sure.
Christ, it's got GPS, a
Oh,
fish finder,
dude,
it's got like
camping
all the
engine-
dumb
My
shit.
brother and I were
dude.
talking about that. 'Cause my brother's got
Dumb
this.
shit.
My brother's got a Taj Mahal that unfolds in about 3
know.
seconds.
What's up with that?
Camping engineering it's
best.
awesome. It's watching what engineers
It's the best.
do with camping gear to make it smaller, lighter,
Mm-hmm.
more accommodating. This thing's got built-in lights and speakers and. It takes them 2 seconds to set it up. It's awesome. So that was kind of great. There was just 4, Landon and 3 of his buddies, me and my brother. Miss came and hung out with us for a while. And we got back from swimming. The boys had fun swimming at the river, had some sandwiches and stuff. Get back to the land. set up camp, and that was one of the things. Like me and my brothers were like, hey, listen, first thing you do when you get here is you set up camp, guys. Like, you just gotta, you gotta learn the rules of the road.
Are these kids?
They're all
campers?
like 13. They're not really. You can tell.
Because you get some kids out there,
not
like
super
my
outdoorsy
brother-in-law's kids, my sister's kids. You bring them out camping, and they'll teach you things. You know what I mean? Like
sure.
those type of kids.
Well, and I think that eager to learn, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like not really getting like sitting around on their phone, like while we're setting up temp. I'm like, no, guys, set the phones down. We're gonna make camp. Once you set up camp, you can do whatever you want.
Then you're sitting in.
So we get camp
the
all
shade,
set
baby.
up, Got set a little grill up. We're gonna get some food going, and then we're gonna go down the river, do a little bit of fishing. Go down there. Me and my brother were doing some fishing. Landon's one buddy, Sean, he's with it. He's like, I'm gonna do some fishing too. I'm like, okay, cool. The other three boys, they're like, we're gonna throw the football around in the water. Okay, cool,
Yeah.
whatever.
I
as
love
long,
that
as long as
shit.
you guys are playing cool, they're throwing. They got those awesome frisbees we took down to the river. the other day.
Yes.
That's a great little
Those are
yard for
great.
those frisbees. I was like, man, we could play some ultimate frisbee in Dennis's front yard here. It's pretty.
Oh, for
pretty
sure.
Sweet. So,
Yeah.
got that all set up, and it was a nice little balance of. All right, the screens are pretty boring. Let's explore a little bit. Do that for about 40 minutes. Okay, better check back into my TikTok world or whatever. It's fine.
Yeah,
All that's great.
Cool.
So have a little bit of dinner. We're sitting around. Now we got a nice little campfire going. And the boys, they're kind of looking for some stuff to do. I was like, guys, I brought a bunch of glow sticks and stuff. I was like,
Of course you did.
Guys, let's
Craig
play
has
a
a
little game.
Spangle plan. And
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I got a whole Spangle zone set up for these kids. So I was like, guys, we got to get some capture the flag going. Right? So it's just them playing kind of 2-on-2, which is a tough game to capture flag with that much area.
Yeah,
But that's
it is.
cool, And they're like, hey, you guys want to play? And Scotty and I are like, yeah, here in just a second we'll play. And Scotty and I are sitting at the fire and we're watching them play. And it keeps turning into this standoff at the center line.
I know why you guys decided to
Well,
kinda
so
get-
there's a standoff at the center line, and so now it's kind of turned in a game of tag essentially to see who can get to the thing beforehand. Because basically you're safe on your side of the
Yes.
line, and if you get tagged on the other side, you go to jail.
Are the flags
for a few
hidden?
minutes. Yeah, they were hiding the
Okay.
flags, and that's fine if you've got like a big game,
Yeah,
where there's a bunch.
because
of
you got
people
time to
moving about.
search.
But really, when you have a few people, you need to kind of have it out in the open. But anyway, we're watching them play it, and they're kind of turning this thing. Me and my brother are like, man, these young little bucks, these little young whippersnappers, they don't know nothing about stealth. We're gonna teach these boys something about stealth. And so they're like, hey, did you guys want to play? And Sky and I are like, yeah, we'll play, but we're gonna do either 3 teams of 2, or me and Scott, or us 2 versus all of you. Teach you guys a little something about stealth.
Jesus Christ. And Craig's got 2 fucking bum wheels out
Oh,
there in the
bum-
road.
the bummest
the
wheels.
road or the land
the
is
bummest
not,
wheels, bud. But
it's not
it
a
was
soccer
cool, though.
field out there. You know what I
We're
mean? There's some divots.
At this
There's
point,
some
it's
divots.
like 10:30 at night. Had a great day fishing down on the river. Sean pulled out a couple of real nice smallies. My brother pulled
Sends
out
me
a
a
smallie.
picture of a fucking kid
Oh,
holding a
it was a
smallie. I
little
was like, fuck that
fat
kid.
dog.
And all I imagine Craig going, fuck that
That's
kid.
weird.
What's wrong with Steve? Jesus.
Golly.
I'd be like, no, not.
Yeah,
never
just-
mind.
I'm
Just
coming down
forget-
there to catch a bigger
forget
one tomorrow.
That kid.
So, after a fun day fishing, and we got everything cooked up, and they're playing around in the tent. The boys are
No, they were not campers, said Scotty.
They
They
were not campers.
They were not.
So it was awesome. It was awesome.
Native hemp has
They get-
CBD
They
flower.
get to play in. Native hemp has CBD flower now.
Just to throw it in.
Check it out
Check it out.
because it's awesome.
It's really good.
It's good.
It's phenomenal.
It's the best. It's the best.
I'm gonna pass that to Mike.
Yeah, Mike gets it.
So we get this game going. They probably started playing capture flag about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and we probably joined in probably about 10:30, 11.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Let them wear out a little bit.
And
before you get 'em.
yeah, sure, you know the play. But the thing is, at first they were playing with like flashlights and everything. I was like, guys, that's not what this game's about. You gotta hide, man. You gotta get in the bushes.
yeah.
That's fine. Though. I
When
was
you
like-
got more people
I
and,
was
like, 2 flashlights.
I was like, let's try it just a little bit different this time. We're gonna kill all the lights. We've got glowing flags, guys.
Yeah.
We made some. We expanded the boundary so that it was the safe zone was kind of the center line was a little thicker, so it allowed us to get closer to each other's flags.
Yeah.
And me and my brother, Bud, we're giving these kids a little lesson in ninjutsu. Okay. And so he and I, at this point, we realize that it is very difficult for both teams to find where we're hiding these flags. So it's kind of turned into, let's see how deep into enemy territory we can get. let's see how close to these kids we can get, and let's show them just how easy it is to disappear in the shadows. So
Jesus Christ.
like when we go out there, as soon as we start to walk back, I'm wearing a shirt about this color, and I'm like, well, that ain't gonna work.
that's
I'm gonna
tough.
stick out.
Yeah,
So I
that's tough.
take off the shirt, right?
So now
Take
you're
off-
nude.
Yes.
In the
Loincloth.
Jesus.
I had a loincloth.
Jesus.
I was trying to connect with my roots.
God.
I take off my, and I'm sitting here thinking.
I
I'm
told
like,
you I
know
had in
what?
trouble for that.
I'm hiding up against. I'm hiding in the silhouettes of trees. There's not much tree cover in the middle. It's pretty dark along the sides, right? Scotty the same way. So he and I, we're trying to work in. We get over to where you'll know where like Dennis's canoes and everything are over on that side, the little Willie's Jeep and everything, and we start making our move along the shadow line. And then as soon as they start coming up, we both hit the deck and we're army crawling
No.
across the grass. These kids don't have a clue, bud. They don't have a clue, bud. I'm army crawling bare tits across the grass. And I'm like,
No.
I'm going to get fucked by ticks and chiggers
God, it's so
so bad.
Your armpits are probably.
I'm going to get it so bad.
Okay.
But you know what? It's going to be worth it.
Oh, Jesus.
And we start getting deep into enemy. Dude, and I can't tell you how many times.
Deep into enemy territory.
Deep into enemy territory. And I can't tell, dude, there were times where they were walking as close as you are to me. And I'm laying there on the ground and they don't know it.
You're covered in mud.
And I'm just, ghillie suit.
Yeah.
Dude, it turned into us just scaring the shit.
Oh, that's fun.
The best part about it was like when they would kind of come up on us and we'd hustle back to safety so we didn't get tagged or thrown in jail or anything. The best part was like when they had eyes on you and then when they would get distracted talking to one another, like slipping back into the shadows again. Dude, it was so much fun. And I'm like,
Everybody-
this being like 6-on-6 or 8-on-8 would be the most fun you could possibly have. It was a blast, dude. Me and my brother were having. I'm playing capture the flag. I'm 35 years old, playing capture the flag with my little brother and my kids. Like this is the best, dude. It was so much fun. It was so wholesome. We played until 3 o'clock in the morning.
Every 13-year-old boy thinks they're tough as shit till they got a 200-plus pound man barreling down at them in the dark of night.
There were a couple of times
They
where
all
Landon
think they're
shook
tough.
me hard, knowing my weaknesses. So he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
he'd take a jibe. He's like, huh, left leg, huh? And he'd take a hard cut, and I'm like, you little.
You said cock.
I don't know. So anyway, like and I'm like, yep, he's not gonna do that. And I'm like, oh man, I wish I could just unleash I could just crank up the old diesel, get the old diesel warmed up, and scare these shit out
Bare
of these boys.
tits, fucked by ticks, and chiggers. So John Hendricks, loving this story, boys. Says Mike Green, a lot of laughy faces. Landon's friends are fucking rad for real.
Dude,
Yeah, they sound cool as shit, man.
Scotty and I were laughing. I got to thinking about it. 'cause
I assumed
I
it
like
was a
to
group
think,
of ruffians.
I like to think when I was 12, 13 years old, you know, probably the worst human being that I was. Maybe 15,
Well, it's
16
interesting
too.
'cause
but I was the
Landon's
biggest
a unique kid.
smart ass, and like, you know, and these kids, it was material. Like,
Well,
it
it's
wasn't
cool.
just being an asshole. Like, they had a fucking punchline.
That's what I'm saying.
for
Like, at least
everything.
Landon hasn't found a group because Landon's, you know, he's not shy about being like, yeah, this is kind of what I think. This is what I feel. This is kind of how I'm
Sure.
going to do things. And finding a group of friends that supports you enough but still gives you shit. Like, that's a good group of friends.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you shit about eating glow sticks all night, but just know I'm your buddy till the fucking
One
end
of the
time.
one of the kids, so they were screwing around with these glow sticks, and so they're like, one of the kids like had it like in his mouth, and they're like, dude, don't bite into that, and we're like, do not swallow phosphorus. It is very, very toxic.
Not on my watch.
Yeah,
okay?
and they're making it sound like all the 4 of these boys are in the tent, you know, in my brother's tent. They're making it sound like it's a goddamn glow stick bukkake in the joint. Like there's glow stick juice everywhere.
Oh,
and,
Jesus Christ.
and Scott's like, I don't care how long it takes. You're gonna clean up all of that while it's still wet before you get out of the tent. So like, they're kind of being and after a few minutes of them talking and freaking out, one of them like, dude, you got it all over your face, you know. And I'm like, oh Jesus, these kids are gonna get poisoned on my watch. My brother's like, I better go get eyes on the situation, and I'm like, yeah, you better go get it. He goes in there, he's like, oh dude, they're just being dramatic. There's not even a drop of anything in there. Well, the kid that put the glow sticks in his mouth, that becomes a joke with all the kids. They're like, the one kid comes up, he's like, hey. What's the difference between between Brody and Sean over there, and I'm like, I don't know, man. What's the
Which
difference?
one's the glow stick kid?
Brody? He's like, one of them has a glowing personality, and like he thought it was a dad joke of all time. He thought he was the funniest human.
You
got to
deliver that one right. You got to
deliver
that one.
Did.
Yeah, you got to
It
deliver
was
that
out
one
of the
good.
blue. And so a little bit of time passes, and they're kind of taking these little glow stick.
And he's like, no, but for real, he ate that. He's
dying.
not doing so well.
Yeah.
He's not doing so hot.
So they're all kind of taking little glow stick jabs and everything, and then they start playing capture the flag, and the one kid's like, "Why don't you guys let me hide the flag?" And the quiet kid of the bunch, who hadn't said anything, one that's fishing with us, Sean, he's like, "This is how he lays it out there." He's like, "Here's the thing, we were going to, but we were afraid you were going to eat it." And like me and my brother are off to the side. We're just dying,
That's
dude.
the time, dude.
The give and take. And then finally, like, the one of them said another glow stick joke, and he's like, "Guys,
Yeah.
I'm done
Enough
with
of
the joke.
shit.
The joke's been going
Enough
on.
of the
Night.
shit.
I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. You guys are acting like a bunch of cock."
Cock isn't a bad word, Craig.
Cock's not a bad word.
Just a heads
Just
up. Elgin will not be my last night. Craig, just know what?
I chewed on a glow stick one night.
Amazing tribe.
Fucking amazing.
May have been a substance involved, and it exploded. It ended up causing an infection in my face,
no.
and my cheek was swollen the size of a grapefruit.
Jesus
Less than fucking
Christ.
Jesus, Rachel.
What's up, John Matthews? We
John?
love you,
How you
brother.
doing, brother?
We love you, brother.
praying-
You know,
we're praying
you
for
did.
you.
You brought Aubrey up at the beginning. We're gonna, in order to keep positive momentum, we're gonna cheer the fact that she did have a successful procedure today
Yes.
to have a shunt. They're keeping her under close watch. She has to start radiation pretty well immediately, trying to get her to Florida. So, praying hard, man.
Shunt. What a weird word.
I know it is.
It
is a
sounds
weird
dirty. Like you're like, don't say that. Shunt. You can't say that on internet. You can't say that on the internet.
So, buddy, we got this
She's-
thing coming up
we're
called
with you.
Hoosier Prom.
Oh me, oh my, baby! I can't wait. August 29th.
August 29th. Yeah, it's a weekend
we had to
after
move
you go
it.
fishing.
So I had
It
to go
was supposed to
fishing
be.
and
Yeah, it
golf.
was
I
going
had
to
to
be
go
like my
golfing.
birthday
Yeah.
and Brian
I
Kelsey's
go
birthday. It was
golfing
gonna
with
be a whole
Jen's
thing.
dad.
I
It's
know.
a whole deal.
It's great.
I love it.
29th. It's going to be awesome, and I guess it maybe got you to think, as you were telling me a little bit of a story earlier.
Oh, man.
You know,
I'm sure.
you didn't get to go to prom.
I think I told the story of me. This is at Homecoming. I didn't get to go to prom because the weather. There was a storm. We had it. The whole deal. We had the country club rented out. It was CBC, baby. You know what I mean? I thought you were getting that for me, man. You were just gonna look at me while you did it.
Kohler 2020.
Not yet. We'll get to him.
So, yeah, my prom went to shit as soon as we got there. Lights went out. I made an ass of myself in front of my date. The rest of the night, I was like, "It's fucked up, man. I better chug as much vodka as I can. Be stupid."
Oh, high school.
I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna do donuts in this parking lot," and everyone's gonna be like, "Look at this dude doing donuts." Well, I get like half the people to come out there. Couldn't quite break her loose in my mom's Montero, you know. So I'm like,
I like the lamest
and
donut.
people are just like.
He's driving in circles.
And just filtering. By the end, I'm finally like breaking her loose just a little bit, and I'm like, "Oh, what's up, guys?"
You thought you were so fucking
it's
cool.
like Tom Bankston out there, like, and he's like, "Yeah,
Dude, I love Tommy
Got his
Dish.
shirt
I
on.
would do the same thing.
Burn it, baby!" Everybody else is gone, dude. So, at homecoming one year, I maybe told this story at the radio station, but I'll tell it again because I am so pumped for Hoosier Prom. We're gonna dress up. It's secondhand.
Yeah,
It's-
second chance, second hand prom.
Yeah,
Night
it's
under the stars.
Night under the
Yes,
stars.
CBD.
So we're gonna do like just like what do you call those? Disco ball and like stuff like that, just to kind of make it look like maybe have some tents set up, some fun tents.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
So with punch bowl and stuff, whatever. A place to take pictures.
Sure.
The whole shebang.
Yeah.
So at homecoming one year, you saw my homecoming picture with that gal where I
Yes.
looked like a little child. Well, I was like catching up. I had to buy it.
I didn't think you looked like a child.
Come on.
You just looked like you were wearing a giant's clothes.
You
You look like Tom Hanks at the end of Big when he's
That's
walking home.
exactly what I looked like. I probably had He-Man fucking underwear on too. So that was freshman year. About my body didn't start going through the real change till about that time. So I was competing with all these stags, you know what I mean? And my antlers didn't have any velvet on
Yeah,
them.
you were just a little bud.
So I have this big crush on this girl, Rachel Novak, actually. If you're out there, no, sorry. Rachel Novak was the girl.
I don't know.
They probably know her. I think she's a Southside gal, whatever, whole deal. She actually fell off a bridge. Died. No, I'm kidding. But if she's dead now, that joke's not gonna
land, dude. Not gonna land.
Whatever. She fucked me, so hope she is dead. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna keep going with it. I'm just gonna keep going with it. I shit my pants at the dance. I had a crush on this girl. It was at CVC. This is like sophomore year. I had to go take a shit, and this is still when I kind of was ashamed of my pooping. You know, you wanted to go hide it somewhere. You wanted to go somewhere and hide it. So what I did is I found the bathroom that was by like the boys' locker room at CBC. You had to pass up this gated area. And so I snuck through the gated area and got to the bathroom, and I was wearing white Umbros as underwear for some reason. For some reason, I'm wearing silky white Umbros for underwear. It's not good. So I have those on. Well, I'm just in there, and I got a bellyache, so I'm just like, you know, tearing it up. I'm like, oh, God, this is not good. But when I get this devil out of me, I'm going to be okay. I'll be okay. I know my body. I'm going to be okay after this. I hear like Terry Alvino and some of the cool kids coming down, like the Homecoming King guy and their hot dates, and I figure they're coming down there to, I don't know, finger blast each other or something. I don't even know at this point. You know, I'm a sophomore. I'm just figuring it all out. You know, they're probably going to touch each other or smoke cigs or even worse, weed. So they come down there. I hear them coming down. They get through the fence, and they come down the hallway, and I hear them getting closer. And I'm like, son of a bitch, what are the odds? I'm cool with everybody, but I'm not cool. You know, I'm just cool with everybody. I don't want to be the guy who shits everywhere at dances. So the lock didn't work on the door.
You're a part of the pooper.
So the lock didn't work on the door. So I hear them coming, and they all come into the men's room. All of them. I think they were smoking cigs or something, or probably some weed. And so I stand up to push my hand against it because I'm like, I need to keep pressure on this door. Otherwise, it was cocked open on me. So you could kind of see in if you wanted to. So they're all in there like, yeah, we're sneaking liquor or whatever. Yeah, it's great. Oh, my God, what's that smell? And Alvino's like, Elgin, is that you? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm drunk and pooping because I'm doing drugs and pooping, man, because drugs and drinking are cool and they make you poop. Oh, that's what I'm doing, man. I'm with you. So he's like, oh, Elgin's taking a fucking dump. So they go in there and whatever, they're huffing glue or whatever they do. They leave. I, like, sit back down, and I'm like, oh, something ain't right. What's that sensation?
You're sliding.
I had somehow gotten sludge on my white shorts. I'd gotten sludge on my leg, inside my dress pants, on my butt cheek. Like, I guess when I got up, it like fell out and kind of went places and then kind of fell into different areas. And then now I'm sitting back down in it. So now I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Now you're in trouble?
Now I'm in trouble. Mind you, Rachel Novak, I haven't seen her all night, right? So I'm, whatever, my date, I'm like, if it ain't Jenny, I ain't interested. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't meet my gal yet.
Angelic save.
So I start cleaning up Toot Sweet, right? Just toilet papering it down. Just toilet papering it down, baby. And it's all over my white shorts. So I get wet toilet paper. I get dry toilet paper. I take those shorts. I ditch those babies. I'm leaving those things behind. Those Umbros are not mine anymore. Stuff them in the trash.
Yeah, some asshole wore white Umbros to the
Called
dance
my
and shat
dad
him.
and said, it's not good. You got to come get me. He's like, what? I'm like, it's not good. Come get me. He makes his way up there. Well, I'm going to go sit outside. And at CBC, they're like, you can't go outside of the dance. You're not going to be able to go outside. What if you do bad things out there and come back in? So I'm like, I need to sit right outside these doors so everyone thinks I'm gone, you know? They let me sit right outside the doors. Probably, I assume because I stunk. I assume I had a little bit of stank coming off me.
From the sludge.
I mean, I could smell it a little bit, but I assume I had a little coming off me. So I go outside and I'm just waiting there for my dad, just waiting there. And I'm like, okay, my dad doesn't live too far away. I look through the vestibule doors, and coming through the double doors, through the lighting.
Is your date?
No, is Rachel Novak. She wasn't even my date. She was just some girl I had a crush on who was going to be there with somebody else. And she's like, Steve, what's up? And she wants to spark up a conversation. Mr. Jones, the conversation with the Novak and the Cadango dancing. So she does that, and I try to get downwind from her because I know there's a stiff breeze out there. So I'm positioning myself to be like, don't be the guy who pooped his pants who's outside. She's like, what are you doing outside? I'm like, my dad's coming to get me because he's worried about my dick being too big. And she wasn't buying it. And I was like, son of a bitch. So I just I'm doing this like moonlighting dance with her. She's like, what's up? Like trying to give me a hug and stuff. And I'm like towing her fucking away from I'm like, no, I'm good on hugs. We barely know each other. It's nice, isn't it? It's kind of cool.
It is nice.
So my dad picks me up and he's like, hey man, what? I hop in the car real quick. I'm like, see you later, Rach. I'll catch you on the flip side. See you later. Gotta go to the gym. So I get in the car.
Grab onto the bumper. Your dad.
I'm like, it's my dad. This isn't my dad either. This is my cool older brother. We're gonna go drink beers at a bar. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make shit up. I get in my dad's car and he's like, hey, how was the dance? No.
Oh.
No. You shit yourself, didn't you? And I'm like, Dad, what? I shit myself? Do you have any plastic you can lay down on these seats? And he's like, where'd your underwear go? And I'm like, Dad, I never come home with underwear. But yeah, so Hoosier Prom, I'm hoping will go a little bit better for everyone.
We can only hope.
Even though some of the more psychedelic drugs that Queeve takes.
Yeah.
Leave me alone in the bathrooms of Spanish Society, okay? Queeve sometimes just needs a minute.
Why there?
It has to be done. I don't want it done anywhere else. I don't have a tushy. I don't want it done anywhere I don't have a tushy.
I get it. Hey, listen, I think now's the perfect time after everybody has been thoroughly entertained by your scat stories to acknowledge
the
our
dance
sponsors.
was shitty, Dad.
We spent $1,000 on some ads.
100 messages from Restream. Let's get it.
Let's
get
it. We spent $1,000 on these assholes, and I think we should get every bit of our money.
You spent $1,000? I spent $10 million. I wrote him a $10 million check.
Well, that's
out
rubber.
of our bank account.
That's rubber.
No,
Art.
We got like
Listen.
10 million.
Our dividends
10
from
million,
big
10.
cannabis haven't started quite being regular
dude.
yet. Guys, this is City County Line overcharging people for a lack of talent.
No, I think these songs are good. I think they're getting
great.
people. They're starting to get stuck in my head, but we paid them $10 million to do it. Hey there, pretty girl, sitting by the lake down at the old redneck Riviera. Sitting by the lakeside, gonna catch a little buzz.
Hey there, pretty girl, give me just a little love.
Hopping on my pontoon, I promise it's insured.
I called James Carlton for the boat and so much more.
Give me that Rita girl, tie up that ponytail.
Sit on my lap, pretty girl, and we will set sail.
Call James Carlton, we wish he were our dad. Call James Carlton so the girls will know you're bad.
Call James Carlton, he will insure us all. Call James Carlton, he is fantastical.
Call James Carlton.
Yeah, girl.
Call him
Come
up
on,
right
call
now. Call him up right now.
314-961-4800.
Call him up right now. Call
Yeah,
him up
girl.
right now. Hell yeah. Hey there, pretty girl, sitting on the front porch. Getting all wet because your shingles all messed up. Oh,
Call Lifetime Roofing. They'll get you fixed up, girl.
fix you up, girl. Call Lifetime Roofing.
Late night goofing.
Got the cinnamon whiskey.
Girl getting frisky.
Sitting in them blue jeans.
That's what freedom means.
Gigging on a frog pond.
Hearing that sweet sound.
Girl needs some shingles.
Girl, are you single?
Call Lifetime Roofing.
For some late night goofing. Lifetime Roofing.
For some
Late night goofing. Lifetime Roofing.
For some late night goofing, yeah.
Native hemp. Sitting right over there, pretty girl.
Realization across the nation.
American made. Infatuation. Got your heart racing.
NASCAR. Homeostasis.
Who you calling a homeo,
There's no
Romeo?
replacing.
Native hemp.
Is what I'm taking. Regulating. Pain sensations.
Okay. My sleep is better. I'm meditating.
From cognitive function. I have more patience. I'm smart.
And native hemp is
Come
what
on
I'm taking.
inside, girl, get you a warm meal. I know you're tired, girl, running through that ham field. Kiss me on the cheek, rope swing by the creek. Ain't no time to sport. Give me all that ore. It's native hemp, native hemp. It's native hemp, it's 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 native hemp, it's native hemp.
I'm an outlaw, check it and see. Want a poster looking like me. Checking the swamp man for a pretty girl. Being an outlaw in an outlaw world.
Hey, I'm an outlaw, check it and see. Want a poster looking like me. Walking my hound dog, surfing that swamp. Catching crow that do the sweetly stomp. Everybody do the sweetly stomp.
It's a stomp, it's a wiggle. Turn around, a little tickle. It's a stomp, move your feet. Head on down to Sweet Leaf. Head on down to Sweet Leaf. Head on down to Sweet Leaf.
Dude, man, get on down to Sweet Leaf Emporium and do that Sweet Leaf stomp, man.
I don't know what you're talking about, dude. Those guys get it. It's catching on me. Craig's barefoot. My favorite part is how Steve sings along to Craig's part. Okay, those are not. That's
First,
not
that's
Steve and
not
Craig.
Stephen Craig.
Craig is even barefoot.
I cannot express how
Let's
much
do
I
this.
fucking love these commercials.
You fuckers are gonna kill my ass tonight. All right.
Yeah, well, whatever the people want us to do.
Listen, if you're gonna write in cuss words, let us know ahead of time so we can bleep them out.
Mike had a great idea, promposals. I tried.
thank you.
We're gonna try to do some promposals where maybe we just record ourselves asking our significant others to prom.
Totally.
Maybe the best one will get free entry.
I love it.
Shit. Tag your
Tag-
prom date. Tag your prom date in the
Tag
feed.
Hoosier Sophisticate.
Tag Hoosier Sophisticate. Tag your favorite friend in the feed.
Hey, and if you feel like doing a goofy one, go ahead. I've got a couple.
No, serious ones only. I don't
Dead
know what
serious.
the fuck he's talking
Listen,
about. Dead serious.
he's not running this fucking show. All right.
Hey guys, they can be kind of goofy. I don't know. They can be kind of goofy. I don't know. Did you just see the commercials that just played here on there?
$1,000 for those.
Where the fuck is my promposal, babe? Craig A. Kohler, are you gonna do it right
Hey,
now?
I got a lot on my plate.
I know,
I got a lot on
I
my
know.
plate.
I
here.
tried to do it to Jen the other day and she foiled it, so I didn't. I gotta retry.
See, that's the thing.
Oh, I
It's
fucked up 3 times already.
they're
Damn.
they're women befitting of a
I mean, I
of
kinda
a
did it on
wonderful
purpose,
of a wondrous proposal.
Regal.
Promposal.
Wondrous.
Regal, yes.
I got a big
Wondrous.
one.
Fantastical
I got a big one
even.
coming.
You got a big one coming?
good,
Oh,
yeah.
best one gets into the prom for free.
I like it.
And maybe gets to be prom king and queen. Or
No.
no,
We-
no,
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 No, you don't buy your way into court.
no.
No.
Clifford. We got a giveaway. Nolan's Tribal Warriors. We're gonna get into cannabis news
There it
here in a
is.
second.
Look at that.
Papa Mau Mau.
I can grab it right
Oh no, I can't. I can't see it with your fucking arm in the way.
Guys, we're
Nolan's
raffling this
Tribe.
off for Nolan's Tribe. $5 a chance. Get you a shot in the raffle. We're going to raise a couple $100 for this pipe, and we're going to give it to Nolan's Tribe because they're
I'm
doing
losing
awesome
my
work.
focus. I can't see anymore.
You're a
'cause I've been
liar,
staring at that.
It's all good. It's all good. Turn it sideways, bud. They can see the weed leaf already. Just kind of give them a little.
Incoming. Good for you.
This is like a Dutch rudder.
It was amazing, man. No one's Tribal Warriors.
You think we're gonna get it?
You guys are fucking amazing.
I'll get it.
Go look.
You're not going to get
Back
it.
up
This
a
is tremendous. Tremendous. $5 a
Tell 'em
pull.
about it.
Now back.
Look at
Yes!
that.
I
There
told
it
you,
is.
dude.
He got it.
I told you I'd do it.
He got it. Check it out, guys.
Back up a hair.
$5 a chance.
Shut your mouth,
All
dude.
proceeds.
Back up a hair. Fuck you, dude. Tell him about it, guy.
Can I talk?
I mean,
Can I finish?
I was.
Can I finish?
Ross Perot,
Can I finish?
get here with that shit.
$5 a
No new
chance, guys.
taxes?
We're gonna raise a couple $100 for this thing. We're gonna give it away to Nolan's Tribe. We'll do it just like we did the last one. A bunch of people have won some awesome glass pieces.
Jason went to see him at Sweet Leaf with a couple friends and Jen, and guess what? He's like, here's a bunch more shit. So we got even more shit to give away. Awesome stuff. If you're a patient and you need a card, reach out to Craig and I. If you're a patient and you think cannabis can help you, reach out to Craig, Mike, or I.
If you know somebody, have
you
them
know
reach
somebody.
out to us.
If you know anyone, listen, I went to the coffee stop the other day. Listen, I got a sweet little deal on coffee, real little quick deal. Coffee place by my house. There's two noobs in there working. I can sense it. So you know how I am with the general public. It's a shit show. So I go in there. It's two kids working. This place is Sedera. It's like a Turkish Iraqi coffee place. I'm
Do they
into
do
it.
like the ice cream? Do they like
Ooh,
put
I'm
the?
into
Do
it.
they do the scoops with?
No, they don't.
Okay.
No, they don't. I wish they would. But the ice cream's great. And I love the vibe. It's like very like
Persian, Turkish.
Yeah, you know, it's like
Yeah.
you know what goes on, and like you know, it's got like the stuff going on with like the pillows and like the velvet.
Kind
and,
of
like,
a harem.
Thank you. Thank you for being you. Harem is the word I was looking for. So it's got a very harem-ish vibe. you
Okay,
know what
I
mean?
dig it. I'm into it.
And so I go in there, and there's a gal working and a dude working, and I'm like, hey, what's this coffee of the month thing? You know, it's $9.99 coffee of the month. I want one for me and my wife. Can I get this caramel coffee and this mocha? And they're like, I think so. And so the dude's calling, and she's making it, and I'm like, I like it extra sweet, and trying to like, you know, like I don't really do coffee that much. I like milk and like frothy and like, you know, what I mean, whatever that. It's a caramel latte is what it is, hot caramel latte. I've learned now. Some guy helped me out. So I'm getting both of these, and they give it to me for $9.99, both of them, right? Well, then they realize they've messed up. Well, Sedera, I'll shout them out. They said, well, we messed up. We're gonna give it to you for the whole time. Well, before I knew that, I just came back in the second time and they told me they'd honor it because I was like, sweet.
That's
I knew
great
it was
customer
traditional.
service.
I knew it was traditional coffee.
great
I knew
customer
they had
service.
messed up,
I
and
like-
I was expecting them to whatever. I paid $9.99. It was like $3 more than the regular ones. Whatever. Okay, I'm into it. So I was they're making a big deal out of it, trying to figure it out on the computer, trying to call the owner, but they don't want to call the one owner because, you know, it's like not the day, you know, I don't even want to call him and ask him questions because he's going to get mad and like, we don't know what we're doing. So they signed me up. And so I go to the gal, she's making the coffees, and I'm like, I am digging the vibe in this place. And she's like, oh, thank you. Me too. I love this place so much. And I go, I mean, the employees are complete dog shit. But this place, pretty nice. And she's like, well, the computer didn't work because of the thing. And I'm like, I am 100% kidding. I have nowhere to go. I am 100% joking. I don't care that. I'm glad you guys figured it out. Whatever. I'm not that guy who's going to get pissed that it took you 3 minutes. You're still making the coffees. So at the end, I had to give my phone number and name to the guy at the end because he's like, I wanted my boss to look at this to make sure I did it right. Obviously didn't do that. So he takes my name and card, and this is probably like a 22-year-old dude, like probably a little, I mean, he looked like he could be from Turkey or something, you know, kind of like,
Okay.
you know, he looked like, you know,
Of Middle Eastern descent.
I don't know what the fuck to say anymore, dude. He looked like he was a cute little fucking 22-year-old dude, fucking like romance novel, long hair and of exotic nature. You know what I mean? I don't know what the fuck to say. You know, like the romance novel covers.
Yes, I do.
I'm a bigot. I'm going to get into that later because I'm a latent bigot and I'm realizing a lot of things about myself and I don't want to fall into the same stupid
We've got some great
patterns.
stuff to talk about.
Yeah,
It. Mike's
in
got a
the
great
second
pick
hour.
this week. We're streaming picks that I
Yeah,
think
our
we
streaming
should
picks
get
are really
into
going to
and-
get into
Yeah,
how
we can
I
do them
need
a
to
little
change my ways. I've been wrong about shit. I have been wrong, and checking my blind side is everything. So anyway, so I'm like, hey, buddy, my name and number's on there. I'm like, you know, give me a call sometime. If you ever get like lonely or whatever. And he's like, oh, okay. And he walks away, and the chick making the coffees looks up and goes, weird. And I was like, I thank you. If I'm going to be in here every day getting coffee, you better learn what's going on.
might as well-
dude.
yeah, we might as well set the
so
tone.
It was pretty fun. So I've been getting coffee from this place every day.
Awesome,
I go
man.
in there every day,
Good
and
for
they
you.
kind of know. They
It's great.
Except the one day, the one dude made cold ones, and I'm like,
I like a good cold coffee.
I will never drink an iced
Really?
coffee. You will.
Dude,
Have you ever
I'd
actually
rather
done
put
it?
my nuts on a table
have you had
and
one?
have someone with a
Have you had one?
pickaxe
Have
or
you
a
had one?
shovel
Have you had one?
smash my sack until it's a bag of
You're so
goo.
extra. I mean, I know who you are.
Oh my
but
god, you call me
Jesus, come on.
He's pretty extra.
Have you ever tried one?
They're really good, man. I love iced coffee.
What a goo bag.
I love.
Yeah,
a
I've
good
tried iced coffee. This is starting to turn into iced coffee, and I hate it. I wish it was warm again.
Okay.
All right, hey, no,
I
big
can
deal,
respect
man.
that.
I'm not
I
mad
can
at
respect
you.
that,
Like, it's
honestly.
not
I
a-
don't like Thanksgiving.
Hey, that's all right.
Tell him.
I'm that fucking guy.
All right, that's
Tell him.
okay.
I get it. Everybody's happy,
I'm
and
not-
I'm over it.
Cannabis news.
Yeah.
Cannabis news, guys. In Missouri, big doings. There are the first inspections are going through. What are they calling those? The fucking
Commencement inspections.
Yeah. And I believe Belief was the number one.
Yeah, it
guy,
sounds like Belief was the first one to be approved. I'm not sure.
which is interesting. They've
Yeah.
been around the longest. There's some FBI doings looking into some of the Missouri cannabis landscape.
Not related to that.
Yeah, it's all related.
Well,
bud.
that's
I'm
true.
just giving like a rundown of kind
Okay.
of the news going on. And then we found out that they're going to be extra steps with the inspections, which I know is kind of a
The way
big
I-
to do, but I kind of, as I read it, I thought it seems like
Well,
it's just the government doing what the government does best.
I
which is
actually
slow
read it
shit
more
down.
like. However, the
Well, you
article
can
was.
read
However,
is the
the article
thing.
was written, like it sounded to me more like the company was surprised by it, but it didn't
Yeah.
sound like anything that they weren't already going to do, which was basically.
Well, they thought
after
it was going to
inspecting the
slow
facility,
things down, right?
I mean, after inspecting the facilities, you're talking about,
They said October in that article.
it,
Get it?
it-
Or
it did- they
November,
were surprised. They were
November.
surprised by them doing an extra check on whether or not their safety plans or their security plans were up to snuff. I don't
Are
know.
dispensaries open yet? Says Casey Weeblock.
I
Yep.
love it.
Yep.
I can't get.
Yep,
You know
they
what?
are.
I actually don't even like if we're keeping notches on the wall of days we're alive. I don't count days.
Dispensary started providing today. Belief got first. Archimedes got second. Oh, there we go. Clay Stallings. Are dispensaries open yet? Another question. The way I read it, the extra steps are the commencement inspections. Oh, okay. So that's Yeah, it seems like that was
Already to be
gonna
expected.
happen.
Yeah, I don't know how you get blindsided by that.
Oh man, I don't. Oh, see, this is. I know it all has to happen, Craig. But again, like you know me, I'm like Mr. like wild and free and fun guy. You know, I'm just like flying by the seat of my pants, Mike. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
I'll go and play the guitar and we'll hang out and have fun, and then I'll go cry in my car for a little bit, come back, and then we're doing it again. We're having a good time. Everybody's laughing. But it's kind of taking the fun out of weed with all this, like, well, I gotta make sure these T's are crossed and I's are dotted, and I'm like, yeah, I know, but the stuff I'm seeing home growers grow, and Nate Bowman's brought it up that, caregivers, if they grow a lot, could sell to dispensaries, and it could be just this.
If we could do an emergency,
This just listen.
Yeah.
I mean, we should be so lenient with it.
I
And
agree.
this is my call to action as far as the cannabis news. I'm the cannabis guy, and I alluded earlier to me learning a lot in these last 3 months. Having a lot of time to think, having the first time in history having fucking a million perspectives thrown at me at the same time. I've seen this song and dance before with the protests, and I'm 36 now, so it's like, man, does that shit work? And the rioting and the violence, and some people are Black Lives Matter, some people are All Lives Matter, and there's this divide in the media. So what's the real story, man? What's really going on? And I realized that I always joke about it. I'm kind of a piece of shit, but I was going down the road of saying, I just don't get it. Like, I just don't. At my core, I'm a nice guy. I want to help everybody, but like, what is going on? I know that black people are being killed by police, but I'm also like, there's black people being killed in their own communities, and I'm like, what's really going on? And I've been an asshole a little bit because I haven't even thought, and I don't know, it's me being an asshole. It's just me kind of being ignorant, and that's the whole deal. I've never had to really think about it. I've never really had to think about just being the different one. And that hurts me too, because I'm like, no, man, we're all the same. In the world I live in, I love everybody, and we're all connected. And I love the weirder you are, the better, the more different you are, the better of a chance I probably have of liking you. I'm like, ooh, someone's from a different place and look different than me, and I can learn all of that. I've learned everything you have to offer. You know what I mean? I can't learn anything from you. We're like the same guy. You know what I mean? It's like I'm done with you.
I get it, bud.
You get it. We've talked about this
I was there
before.
2.5
we
years
talked
ago.
about it. We talked about it before. So to learn from all these different perspectives, and I've never had to really challenge myself with it. And with just being different. And that's bullshit on my own part to be like, we're all one. Because when you start diving through the history, and my early spoiler alert for my Netflix pick of the week was 13 on Netflix about the 13th Amendment. And just how systematic it was against black people. Just the history of their leaders being killed and kids being bombed, and racism went away when the Civil War was over, slavery went away, and learning, it's like, oh yeah, people just didn't stop being fucking assholes at that point. People were still assholes, and then they gained power, and it's like, whoa, why don't black people get it together? It's like they've been systematically at our what America is at its core. It's the system of the American dream. And instead we said, no, that's not for you. That's not for you guys.
Even though they were thriving.
Even though in some places they were thriving. Yeah. And it's like, okay, that negates all that bullshit anyone wants to say about pick yourself up by your fucking bootstraps and shit. It's like, yes, everyone should do that at some point in their life, have to be knocked down and picked back up. But to be systematically kept down all of the time, and to have it be ingrained, and I believe in this world of psychedelics and magic and the people being able to talk to each other and telekinetic forces and being able to feel the energy and that being kind of ingrained in your DNA, and past trauma and how that trauma can just fucking linger in your ancestors and in your mom and your grandma and your great grandma, and that trickles down to you to where you're like, I'm pretty far from that. I mean, I'm pretty close. So it's made me take a look and go, oh, dude, you'll never really get it. But to understand that I'll never really get it helps me get it to the point where I'm like, all I can do is educate myself to the fucking fullest
Just
about
listen.
These people in 13, these leaders. I think it's Fred Hampton. He was one of the leaders of the Chicago Black Panther Party. And this, like, the way he was talking and rallying people, just from the clips they showed, he was getting Native Americans together.
Yeah, they
And
said he was great at getting everyone,
Yes.
bringing groups together that had
Yes.
some differences, but
Yes, and
getting
that's
them
what we're
to
looking
move
for.
towards
That's
the
what
same.
we're all looking for. And it's not Black
goal.
Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is more than that. It's oppression matters. The oppressed matter. And before, in the 60s, the civil rights movement, it was like, I see it on my TV. I heard someone mention on a podcast, or I forget, I heard it in passing, where it was, yeah, in our podunk town, the civil rights movement happened, but we were like, that looks crazy. What's going on there? Hey, how's everybody? Everybody still know their place here? Okay, I'm glad everybody still knows their place here, because that shit ain't going to fly. To where now you're seeing it. We have the machine. We have the machine. Psychedelics and technology and this movement. The change is in the fucking air. You can feel it. I listened to different versions. Nina Simone singing. The times they are a-changing. She could have been singing it fucking yesterday, man. Bob Dylan's words ringing true. Through and her, if you haven't looked up Nina Simone
she's
and
the
her
best.
songs, like, I wish I knew how good it felt to be free. Her singing that shit, oh my God, it's a whole different perspective on the oppressed will be heard, and they will be heard with these machines, and we're just figuring it out. So these are the last. Is this the last? Are we the pigs rutting out the last truffles of fucking racism? Those little fucking hidden eggs that were all around us all the time, that we were like, whatever, that's fucking this, how that's always been done. And they'll figure it out eventually, to where they're like, the generation kind of right below us, like our older brothers and sisters, I feel like there's a little bit more fucking racism in that generation. Like, some of the shit they say, I'm like, well, none of my friends say that. But we're not necessarily to be like, hey, fuck you, dude. Fuck you right now for saying that shit. It's always like, well, that's uncle whatever, cousin whatever. He's a fucking idiot. To where the generation younger than us is like, no, snuff them all out. Now we got it. Which they're going a little overboard. It's like, this person said one thing one time. That's okay. We're learning. Shit's going to happen. But are we rooting out the last bastions of the oppressor? Are we... And that goes for weed too, because right now, with all of the change going, we should be pushing for the federal government to just slide that in there.
Yeah.
Give us weed. 33 states with more on the way are saying that weed is a fucking medicine. We're seeing it. Doctors can't talk about cannabis to patients. Like, when they are in certain situations, doctors are not allowed to talk about cannabis, and won't do it because they're going to get in trouble for discussing what could possibly help someone live a better life. And let's get it all out. Let's fucking root out all of this bullshit. The Black Lives Matter is it's more than that. I'm with it. I'm so with it now, more than I ever. Just the oppressed will be heard. Whether it's Black Lives Matter, whether it's Native Americans getting a fucking fair shake at things for once, whether it's just us going through our history, realizing what we know, where we fucked up, and moving on from it together, rather than keeping up the same. Because right now we got a bunch of baby boomers in office. Someone posted a thing. It's like its average age is fucking
They're
insane.
so old, dude. They're so old.
You guys got that mindset has
And
to
that's
go.
I think that's a a result of how big lobbying is now. Like,
Sure.
the older the puppet, the easier it is to just kind of pass it off on the old dotard,
They're going right off into the sunset.
But it's definitely not them. Like, You think Joe Biden's fucking championing fucking anti-drug legislation? Come on, dude. He wrote all of it. Like, that's not like they're just puppets. They're all just fucking puppets. And
let's root them out.
so
now.
you're talking about.
Let's
do
root 'em
I
out.
think that we're close, man. I think that we're really close. But I think that there's kind of always going to be a little bit of a volley, right? Because what's happening, and this is kind of interesting. For all of the amazing, like you were saying, we're learning how to communicate on the internet. We're learning how to communicate as a brain whose entire fucking every region is lit up, and it's used to just communicating like this. But now it's learning how to communicate over here. It's happening.
Psychedelic
it's happening,
revolution.
but it's not found its best route, right?
I mean,
Like,
that's
it's
what
not-
happens under brain scans with
100%.
LSD and
So like that's liken that to how we communicate with the internet. And the technology for the internet is and the ability for us to put ourselves in front of people on the other side of the world and our ideas with people on the other side of the world is growing faster than our actual human evolution. And so we are now trying to learn how to process emotions for things that like most people's diaries now, most people's journals, most of their inner dialogue is being shared with the world in real time across the entire globe. Everybody's doing it. Everybody has an idea out there, and one fucking slip up on the wrong platform could fucking tank everything that you are. Right? Tank careers. Like I was listening to Joe Rogan and Kevin Hart talk about that, and Dave Chappelle, and talking about cancel culture. And I mean, I think that there's a place for all of that as far as like educating people where maybe they're spending their dollars and everything. I think that not allowing people to be corrected. Like I don't think that shame can be a great motivator. But if there's no light at the end of the tunnel to change, to realize the error of your ways, then there's not much incentive to change. I'm going to be hated no matter what I do. I'm going to be hated no matter what I do. I'm not worthy of making a life for myself, and I'm not worthy of making a life to be able to provide for my children and my family. Like that's one of the things that we're having to learn how to navigate
for sure
a little bit better. Is we are very reactionary. The mob is easily, and I've really like in the last 2 years, really in the last 4 years, I've been like just really pulling out of the everyday mainstream news cycle, not really getting, like still very much keeping up with politics and like my political philosophies and maybe how they're fitting into this fucking ridiculous badminton game between blue and red that is not serving any of us. But for some reason, we can't convince people that there is a third. Everybody has this idea.
You got that graphic?
Everybody has this idea that
Hit the right one though. Throw up E.
Oh, okay.
The first one. The first one is there. It is.
The idea is
Leave that up there for a little
that
bit.
we have all been convinced with this mass programming that we have a binary choice, that we need to make linear decisions
Totally.
for the way that we move forward in a fucking 4-dimensional existence. You know,
It's not
like
that simple.
we're trying to move on a straight line in a reality that is all encompassing in every direction. And we're not fucking getting anywhere, and we're just playing tug of war. And there are people, there is a way, for me, there is a way where
Settle down on there.
there's a way where if we were to vote third party at the highest level, most people say the way that you win a third party wins is from the bottom in smaller elections, local elections, things like that.
No doubt.
And I am of the opinion that when you have red versus blue in the aisle, and every now and then you got a couple of independents, but they're pretty well you know kind of which line they're stepping, right? I feel like I'm losing my train of thought here, but that's fucking CBD.
I got a thought as far as another question I wanted to ask you, because I can't bring it back.
I'm sorry, babe. I'm sorry,
it's
guys.
okay. That's like the first time I think that's. Let's take a moment and fucking let him fucking sit.
You have to cut off the head.
Oh, he's back.
You've got the blue side of the aisle and you've got the red side of the aisle. And I have been lobbying for, the libertarians can't fucking decide on anything. But if you put somebody who was fiscally conservative and who was, very, socially liberal and progressive, and you had that person being the ultimate check to the Senate and the House, that is not going to let the extreme measures that these fucking parties keep jockeying with, that is the same fucking argument that they've been making for decades. Is it abortion? Is it? It's the same fucking volley all the time, and we're getting nowhere.
Guns.
We just we just fucking sent up a new spaceship the other day. Like, can we start getting fucking
Mars.
Juiced up about doing big shit and getting the fuck off this rock so that we can get it sustainable again? When we shut down the world for a all the trees started growing again. We have a biomass situation on this planet that no amount of anti-pollution measures are going to stop. And you're damn sure not going to do it through taxation. We have to. The Earth is going to experience a cataclysmic event, so we should be looking to expanding, right? We got all kinds of crazy technology now to explore space. And we're still talking, just dragging our fucking knuckles with legislation.
Okay.
It's
you
ridiculous.
Want to go to the Mars. I get it.
I want to go forward, man. But I don't want to just go forward I feel like there is so much we can go forward with as far as our homeostasis with Earth, like how we start to live more sustainably. But I'm not I'm not an enviro-Nazi, right? Like, I don't think that there are I don't think that governments. I think that man is free.
Woman and man.
Yeah, woman. woman. I think the man is free, and I think that all of the proposed green measures that are typically thrown out there are really all about concentrating wealth and all of this shit. Like, I don't think that they're ever Earth first.
Okay, that's what the fucking problems I'm talking about. Rooting out. All of the people are learning that we're even learning that the mob mentality. The mob is learning that there is a mob mentality now. We're turning on. All of these things are changing. The thing I wanted to ask you, though, is do you think with all this change happening, that if you look at it on graphs, the psychedelic revolution kind of gaining steam all at this time, the technological revolution kind of gaining steam at all this time, and the actual cultural revolution gaining steam at this time? And you had mentioned earlier about how distant our generations are almost getting more and more distant, not by time, but how far we're advancing within the generations, to where a generation before the singularity, it's going to be like Grandpa was a caveman with the stuff we are capable of. Grandpa might as well have been rubbing two flint sticks, dancing around a fire. Like, yeah, this sounds pretty tight, actually. So to where if it keeps going the way it's going, do you think that's a coincidence, or do you think all of these things are happening simultaneously for quite possibly a reason, or they're all what is that, causation, or they all cause one another, or they all are you saying they're that the all correlation related?
Is causation?
Don't get me fucking started on that shit. I have an aneurysm. But you know what I mean? Do you think they're all connected?
I like the idea of it. I think that really lends well to a simulation theory, which I'm with too. Like, I'm on board with that. I think that to quote a friend of ours, it's all math, right? And in that, I definitely
what
think
is math?
I definitely it's just an expression of us trying to map out the universe and the reason why things are the way that they are.
But it's just interesting that there was one thing, some guy's like, yeah, I'm gonna do this little thing for that, and then he had two things, and he's like, oh well, I guess I'll do two of them. Well, shit, I could do one of these, or I could do one of.
You mean like why do
Now
we
I
have
got 3.
why do we have like Arabic numerals? Is that what you're
I
asking?
get. Yeah, I'm just saying it's weird how math has evolved
Oh,
into this
sure.
idea, to this construct,
Yeah.
to us trying to figure out at its base, first fucking guy trying to figure math out. Like, 3 turds came out of my butt instead of 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, he was just counting away.
Yeah.
How many berries made it through? how many caveman berries made it through? Mike, you want to?
But I to finish the point, yes, I do think that there's probably something to be said in this universal song that brings it all together.
Yeah, it does.
And but maybe they're just like these little intersections where like that's when we have these Renaissance periods in our human evolution. Like maybe it's
alive,
just
baby.
these. Oh, right now is a fucking.
It's
a time to be alive for sure.
Get active.
Gotta
Get
do a
into
little
it.
bit better with popular music, but other than that, like it's a good time to be.
You got to
alive.
seek it out.
You
There's
got to
a lot
find
of-
good music.
You got to
right
find
now.
good music
because the shit that they're putting out there is like literal programming. Like it
It's
feels
numbing.
like it is. It is. It makes you. It
Well,
fucking makes you dead
Man,
inside.
that leads me to. I like it, but yeah, I actually know exactly what you're talking about. This gets leads. We'll go to a commercial maybe, but my wise words of wisdom talks a little bit about how Jenny and I were discussing, and I think it was on Duncan Trussell again. Is music good because of the struggle? Like if times were really good, I remember thinking as a kid, like in the 90s, I was like, man, America's got it good. I was listening to all the 60s music and the meaning behind some of the words.
Yeah.
And I was listening to just garbage music in the 90s. I wasn't getting into the real good stuff in the 90s. I was listening to pop shit. And but the pop stuff even seemed heavy from like the popular music seemed pretty heavy from
Fucking right.
from the 60s, you
Yeah.
know? So I was like, man, I wonder if
But
you
that
know,
was, I guess,
that's where good music comes from. The struggle.
Oh, well, no doubt. I
You
played
know?
that thing by Son House. He's like an old blues musician back in the teens and 20s, and he, ain't but no kind of blues, but about a woman, and he's just talking about how like every song that's ever been written in the blues that was worth a damn was about heartbreak, was about feeling something. And when coronavirus happened and the quarantine happened, I'm like, this kind of sucks for movies because they're not going to be shooting for a while. But we might
Music
get
should be the
some
best.
real
Best ever.
fucking nuggets of music.
I hope.
Here in the coming months, we're going to get. There's going to be an explosion. Not just music. There's people painting indoors.
No
like there
doubt.
are people creating. We know a few of them. Hell, we're trying in our own
Yeah.
goofy little way. The level of creativity
Yeah.
amongst our group, just in Sophisticated Hoosiers, the shit people are doing, like just seeking out hobbies. Like everything, I feel like there is a bit of an artistic renaissance. There's also like, and I don't know, this might be just me in my own little echo chamber a little bit, but it seems like there is a big movement to people getting back to growing their own food and being a little bit more self-sustaining
For
and
sure.
packing their freezers and just kind of making sure that they do have a bug out plan, like or just at least entertaining the idea that, man, I need to fucking make sure that I have some rations.
For sure.
I
think the world is definitely trending toward that. We have groups talking about buying land. I've never been more serious about getting
know.
a group of my friends, buying some fucking land, and really fucking doing it. And I mean that. That would be the best thing ever. Best in the you brought up a great point with music. That's another bullshit latency racism thing that I've always taken for granted, that I've heard the jokes and was kind of like, every blues musician that got ripped off, not ripped off, made an homage to. Really, I don't think Zeppelin and the Stones were really
Dude,
being like, I'm going to rip them off to make money, even though that was a Beach
No,
Boys.
I think they were
that was a
big
Beach Boys
fans.
gig.
They were just
They
fans.
were huge fans,
Yeah.
and their love. But that's the latent racism. It's like, well, the black guys, we wouldn't let them do it, but these blokes across the pond, they figured it out, and I love all that music. And I even I'm even a dude that when we go on vacations, I went to in Tunica,
Museum or
Mississippi.
something?
There's
Yeah.
the Blues Mississippi, and I'm like, this is just
Yep.
Robert Johnson's
It's a jam,
story
dude.
about like
Yep.
the cross and selling his soul, and you're like, oh
Dude, my
my
whole
God.
20s was nothing but blues music, man.
Unreal, and you hear the pain and sorrow and heartache in it, and that's where you're like, that's good music. It's evoking something out of me. It's art. And I even Birmingham, Alabama, I remember checking out the Civil Rights Museum down there. So I'm in it. I'm with it. I'm trying to understand, but still I put shit on the back burner that I'm like, oh fuck. I just take for granted people that look like me got all of the shit handed to them as far as like the music and stuff went of the music I like. That little small, because you got to dissect everything. You can't be like, well, they're fucking giving everything. All the fucking, we're generalizing too much right now.
I agree, yeah.
We're
yeah.
generalizing.
We got to
way
find
too
some
much.
nuance in our
Yes,
conversations.
the nuance of what music I like, the rock and roll music. And the best music I was listening to in the 90s was hip hop. That was a struggle that I was like, yeah, man, this is fucking crazy. But I remember like NWA having a concert, and they're like, Jesus, there's a bunch of white kids yelling the N-word back at me at this concert. This is kind of a mind F. And we're going to talk a little bit about Dave Chappelle, but he was talking about that, you know, like his show kind of getting out of hand, and he didn't want to be this beacon of like, what have I become?
Yeah, he saw people laughing
What
a little
have
too
I
hard.
become at this shit, you know? And his 846.
Yep. That's my show.
One of the most profound things I've ever seen, and I want to be better.
Me too, brother. Me too. My
And I'm ignorant, and I don't want to be like you were saying, cancel culture or whatever you want to call it. I want to be better, and sometimes you gotta fuck up to be better.
I want to be better, and I need the room to be better. So
Yeah, you do.
yeah, I need the room, guys. But I mean, honestly though, like I make space for people. This is something I talked
Yes.
about it a little bit in my, my little car
Little
ride to
deal,
work.
yeah,
My little car ride to work.
Those
like,
are so great. They're back, and they're phenomenal.
having some
so
fun
good.
with them. It usually takes a little while to get the old diesel warmed up,
does.
but once we get on a good topic, we're chugging along. But
so
you know,
good.
the idea is, man, is like right now it is really like shit is just on fire, right? Like everything is on
Good.
fire and not necessarily in a bad way. Like I say that, yeah, there are literally things on fire.
I mean, it's not
but
like
also there is
Syria
a
war zone.
It's a tremendous amount of passion wrapped up
Yes.
right now. It's an election year. The world is changing. Statewide, we've got we've got cannabis measures. Countrywide, we have psychedelic measures in different states. Denver's going to Kevin Matthews, who did Denver for psilocybin, decriminalize Denver, is now helping to run the campaign to decriminalize all of Colorado. Like, we are making serious strides. We got a psych scrapbook on the other side, kind of an interesting little story. All of these things are happening very rapidly.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, shit's going to be hectic. Like, it's not going to be like, I don't know who planned on like surfing a rainbow to the other side where everything was going to be better.
Our generation's been primed for that though. Like, hey, I'll take care of you. We'll take care of you.
Yeah.
Our parents had a very much like, we make it better for you than our generation. Our parents did the same shit. And our shit was pretty good. We're like,
Totally.
we got it pretty good. And now we're like, oh my God, there's riots and all this shit. And it's like, dude, the oppressed have been screaming out for years. You haven't been fucking paying attention or listening. You've been just accepting the information you're given, and you've been trusting. That's what's fucked us. When it's like the Green Mile, when he says, he used their love to kill them, when like he used their trust to deceive them into. That is something that needs to make a comeback.
Yeah.
Your word. Like when you see
Gotta be
old
worth something.
movies,
Yeah.
like they're like, oh, that dude lied to somebody 10 years ago. He hasn't come back to town since. Like, and you're like, yeah, I fucking get it. No one can take his word ever again. Trust has gone out the window to where like it's just a thing. The news
Everybody's-
can lie to us. Actors, we consider
Our
Tom
elected
Hanks
leaders.
the most trustworthy person in America. Got elected like in Time or picked in Time or one of the magazines. I'm like, what the fuck? An actor? Like,
That's
this
what
fucking-
it's fucking do.
This fucking dude is like, His job is to straight bullshit us. You know what I mean? And he's awesome at it. Like, if he's playing Tom Hanks as a character, kudos to him. You
Hey,
know
look,
what I mean?
there's reason to be excited. All right,
There is?
We have options. Mike, EK1 over on the far left there.
Far left. All right.
AK1. I don't know. We're just gonna, we're gonna see what happens.
Guys, stick around. We're going to go to break for a minute. We're going to come back. We got a psych scrapbook. We got some words of wisdom of the week, and we got streaming picks of the week, and then we'll wrap this whole thing up. This has been fun, man. You were on one there, brother. That was great.
I felt like you.
That was great.
I've been learning a lot from you, though. I thank you. You've helped, for real, you've helped me be a little bit more thoughtful. I mean, you're a piece of garbage. But you've also helped me, it's like I just always want to be better than you.
Yeah,
and you're pretty good.
Ooh,
so
tough.
it's
That's
like, I
tough,
know.
man.
It's
That's
a
hard
high
road, brother.
I'm Joe Mack. I'm hitting 400 tonight. I'm going to see what happens. Okay?
Ride the
Pools,
fucking storm
okay?
out, man.
Have you seen, did you see that Sosa
30
McGuire thing?
haven't seen it yet.
We're going to check that out.
Okay.
All right, taking a break.
Mike,
baby.
take us to break. Commercial break 1, bud.
James Carlton. Insurance 314-961-4800. Handsome. Amazing. Astonishing. Astounding. Fabulous. Incredible. Fantastical. Phenomenal. Prodigious. Stupendous. Unbelievable. Wondrous. Divine. Fantastical. No, seriously, he's fantastical. You got a house. Go on and get it insured. You got a car. You gotta get it insured. You got a life. Go on and get it insured. CarltonInsurance.net. Fantastical. Stupendous. Fantastic.
You take our insurance and are you cannabis friendly? Yeah. And they all said no. And then at that last phone call, that 8th phone call, I was like, do you know anybody that is? I'm desperate. I've called 7 other people. You're my 8th phone call. Yeah. At this point, I'm crying my eyes out. And this lady just felt bad for me and said, hold on, let me call you back in a few minutes. And they called me back and they said that they would take him, but under a certain amount of conditions. And the main condition was that if they felt that cannabis was not working for him, then they would take him from us and put him in and Child Protective Services, and then they would take the other 2 kids too. Oh, because they were both underage.
Then
and we would be charged with child endangerment.
So they'd go to federal prison.
Yeah, we would go to federal prison. So we said, bring him on.
Come to Pruitt's, I got good price.
8 inches and 2 hours for game time.
This is one of the best Cubans. I try a Cuban everywhere I go, and this is one of the best damn Cubans I've ever had. And we've got a little white cheddar mac here with a little cracker mac. Life-changing, incendiary.
Everywhere I go, I try the Cuban. This time I didn't. I got the grilled cheese bacon burger.
Look at that thing.
With put some pepper jack on there, some jalapenos, and we got some crinkle fries. And all I can say is, oh baby, grow baby.
As you can see, this was once a delicious plate of coconut scrimps, and I devoured it. And if I had to say, if I had to give a review real quick, I'd say it's an orgasmic feast of the senses.
And I love meat.
See ya at Truman's, guys.
Canada's first psychedelic enhanced psychotherapy center. One week before Canada went into COVID-19 isolation, Field Trip opened Canada's first psychedelic enhanced psychotherapy center. Three months later, it's open to the public. The need exists because there are so many people struggling with depression and anxiety and other mental health conditions, says Field Trip Executive Director Ronan Levy. The company's first location is based in downtown Toronto. 2 new locations in Los Angeles and New York will open later this summer. The office looks more like an upscale yoga studio than a doctor's office. Spacious rooms and comfortable chairs are meant to put patients at ease as they undergo a treatment that mixes a microdose of ketamine with psychotherapy. Field Trip's medical director, Dr. Michael Verboa, says the goal is to get away from our reliance on antidepressants. Traditional medicine is passive, he says. You take this pill is going to fix you. This is, we're going to give you a drug and we're going to help you open up an opportunity for you to be your own healer. And we're going to be here for whatever you may need. A typical session that includes ketamine and therapy lasts around 2 hours. The patient would receive a microdose of ketamine through a needle in the arm or leg before relaxing in a reclining armchair with noise-canceling headphones. After about 45 minutes, the drug wears off and the therapy starts. Each session costs between $200 and $400. Canadians are among the highest consumers of antidepressants in the world, 86 dosages per 1,000 people, trailing only the US, 110 doses, Iceland, 106, and Australia, 89, according to the OECD. In the 1950s, Canadian researchers in Saskatchewan were considered world leaders in the research of psychedelics to treat a variety of diseases, including depression and alcoholism. But LSD pioneer Timothy Leary helped usher in the counterculture movement of the 60s, and psychedelics became synonymous with hippies. As a result, the US and Canada banned them in the 1970s, essentially putting an end to any research projects. In recent years, scientists have begun looking for alternatives to antidepressants, which a study from McMaster University suggests are hard to kick because of extreme withdrawal symptoms. Just last year, researchers at the University of Toronto launched the Center of Psychedelic Studies, where they're looking at the effects of psilocybin, and researchers at the University of British Columbia, Okanagan, are well into a study looking at the impact of MDMA on patients with PTSD. During the worst days of the pandemic, Field Trip offered virtual sessions to its clients, which have to be referred by a family doctor. The clinic has also provided free remote therapy services to first responders and healthcare workers. They're now open for patients to visit them in the clinic. Special thanks to globalnews.ca for the story. We're back, man.
Look at you, dude. You do hard work to fucking get the message out there. I know no one cares about the psychedelic scrapbook, which sucks, but
It does.
but you put a lot of hard work and time into it, and I think it's really the most important thing. Being a guy who's seen the power of cannabis and how it really sorry for using the word so much tonight, but I'm passionate about cannabis, and you've helped me see that, and not only you, but the people we've hung out with, that trauma is a big thing. Big thing. And cannabis can help with some of those issues. Cannabis is a medicine for your body and soul, but when you want to start healing some trauma, and when you want to start doing the work, when it starts getting crazy, when it feels like it does right now in the world, that is not the time to run away. I don't get to be the guy who just lives my happy merry life as who I am now. That shit you don't get to do that anymore. I can choose to do that, but inside my soul, I'm not going to be able to live with myself. So having that psychedelic journey and opening yourself up and being able to deal with trauma, it's just it's an awesome thing, and I appreciate you always bringing these little tidbits back with you, man.
Well, we got to celebrate the little wins, man. This place, Field Trip, was going to open.
What?
Field Trip was going to open.
Yeah. Go on.
And then COVID-19 happened. And so, here you go, the first psychedelic center in Canada.
Psychedelic Center should be your nickname.
Is set to open. COVID-19 happens. So now, a couple, 3 months later, they're open for now. There's been some places that are doing some ketamine clinics, but this place is really focusing on the psychotherapy aspect of this, which is something that Rick Doblin said to us was so important. MAPS was not lobbying the FDA.
Ricky Dob-Dobs?
Yeah, Ricky Dobbies. Ricky Dobby-Doo-Doo. MAPS was not lobbying the FDA to just decriminalize or legalize MDMA. They're asking them to legalize MDMA, assisted psychotherapy, the same way with ketamine, and with ketamine, psilocybin trials. I mean, these things are happening everywhere, and kudos to Canada and Toronto. They're going to open up in Los Angeles and New York next, so that's cool. It's all across North America. We're making strides. We're making real strides. And it's really exciting when I think about when I started to, I guess, maybe understand the healing potential of psychedelics because of what they did for me. Like a world that I was only hoping and dreaming for just, less than 5 years ago, maybe. In 5 years' time, the amount of people that I can now carry a conversation with, people that have not only just come out of the psychedelic closet, but have also been inspired to maybe do this kind of work because of hearing other people's stories. It is popping up in the news almost on a daily basis.
On the news. They're putting it on the news.
But it's popping up on a daily basis, breakthroughs, either in scientific studies or
Robert Carhart Harris is just killer.
He's amazing. And I mean, there's that's what's cool is there's these pockets all over the globe from people of all kinds of different cultures that are studying these things.
Are you describing the world spring happening right now, or are you describing the psychedelic revolution happening right now?
because we can exchange information with our colleagues, like because the brightest minds in the world can transfer data to one another so quickly. And I mean, we are getting very measurable positive results. And now the government is in a place where we've been arguing this for cannabis for a long time, but the government's in a place where a Schedule I drug has no therapeutic value, has high addiction possibilities. None of those things apply to psychedelics. And so, and the scientific community, some of the brightest minds in the country, in the world, are that we should be listening to. Yeah. And that's something else. Like there is a strange thing right now where like we're really quick to get on board with like consensus science on certain ideas, which I really loathe that term consensus science, because I feel like it's very limiting. I feel like it's like, okay, well, we figured it out, close the book on that and move forward. But at the same time, there are some of the brightest minds in the world that know a lot more than we do about certain things and have the data and are seeing it in real time and also know that.
What did they know about the Bell's palsy thing?
They didn't know about that, but I'll let them know. So one time I got Bell's palsy.
Did you ever look at? Not to cut you off.
No.
I finish that up.
I was just saying, like, it's right now. The most elite universities in the world are studying this, and they're funding it in a huge way. Tens and hundreds of millions of dollars going to psychedelic research globally.
You saw the place in Michigan that we went to?
A Center for Consciousness Science.
Unbelievable.
Harvard's got a divinity school where they've been studying psychedelics for 40 years. Johns Hopkins been studying psychedelics since the 40s. All of these things have been going on. But now that the information is available, the government can't throttle the amount of good scientific information that is available to the public. And we're seeing, how hard it is for people to change their minds about cannabis, about anything. Yeah. We're seeing it right now with everything going on. I think the biggest hurdle in front of us is people, learning how to say, I was wrong. But not because I was being ignorant, but because I was misinformed.
I know.
It's not what I would love for.
I mean, that shit tonight, I feel you.
I'm trying to apply this to my, my life too, is like being wrong isn't being weak. As a matter of fact, quite to the contrary of that is like understanding that you were wrong because you've been presented with better information is what makes you intelligent. That is the measure of intelligence. Being able to change your mind and not doing it because you're trying to win someone over by pandering, but because you've been convinced with your own two eyes by the science. And the science is abundant right now with psychedelics. It's fucking exciting to me, dude. It's exciting to see that there are pathways that, like, man, I can't even imagine. I don't even know that I had this kind of interest when I was coming out of college. But I'm almost inspired to go back to school because now there are things that I really want to. I want to study. Like, I can study this. Like, this is what I can make my curriculum and become
encouraged, and I get to have conversations with my peers about it.
And I can tackle things. I think about things like this, man. I think about somebody. What do you think we have a friend. We have a friend going through a parent with dementia right now. My grandma had dementia towards the end. I think about something like Alzheimer's and what it does to the brain. And I wonder where I truly think, like, I don't, just a gut feeling. But I feel like psychedelics are something that
it's worth a fucking shot.
It's worth a shot, bud. It's worth a shot.
It is.
And I think about things like that, like things that we're just like, we don't have an answer for it. Can't figure it out. Yeah. Maybe these answers lie where we've been forbidden to go. Forbidden fruit, man. The forbidden fruit. And if anybody's had the serpent experience on on psychedelics, like, maybe the serpent was just trying to wake us up a little bit.
That's the thing, man. You're talking about trying to be better, and it's when you're younger, it's kind of easy to know when you're doing a stupid thing or something wrong. You kind of know the rules, and you're testing them and stuff. it was tough to come to grips. I'm still kind of messed up about it. That's why I want to talk about it so much, is that I was wrong in the way I was thinking, but I thought I couldn't be wrong because I'm a caring guy and I love everyone, and there's no way I could be doing wrong in some aspect of that. But oh yeah, you got to dig a little bit deeper and get perspective from somebody else, and it's okay. I feel better now that I'm wrong. I feel like I can move forward with a clearer lens. I feel like I had a mini psychedelic breakthrough, but just through the quarantine and what's going on with the world and having friends that I'm able to have these conversations with and having this community that they're having all these conversations and I'm hearing all these different sides. I'll read through them and go, kind of an asshole comment. Oh, that makes a point here. Oh, kind of an asshole butt makes a point. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like, oh, titties. Oh, okay. Now we got going. And all these conversations that are happening are creating growth. And there's so much growth happening, and growth is ugly sometimes. Growth doesn't feel good all the time. Growth is like, oh, I wanted to be perfect. I wanted to do things right because I know what's right. Well, not all the time. You're doing your best, and that's all you can do. Like I saw a cat or doing something ridiculous.
Yourself or someone else in harm's way.
If you're just like, oh, I made a wrong decision. If I would have done this may have happened. Well, you can't live like that. You trusted your gut, and sometimes like when I trusted my gut to dive for that stupid kickball. Like looking back, I was like, dude, what are you doing diving at kickball? But that steamrolled into all of these other good things that happen. So you never know. The universe is so sweet and beautiful, and everything of the glowing light of nature from our end of our videos. It's every time you think you got it figured out, and things are like, dude, I know cruise control, baby. I'm on the. They're like, well, there's a road gator, and you're like, son of a bitch. Or oh, there's some traffic. You gotta get off at this next turn, and it's like, I put it on cruise control for a minute, and if I don't make an active choice to enjoy those little detours off the road, if I choose to bitch about that shit, like the conversation we were having earlier, or editing the show, and some of it's not conscious, some of it's ingrained in us, but once you hit a certain stride, you should be able to say, this is ingrained, this is what I'm trying to work on. Let's separate the two. Those detours, you got to fucking get off and smell those flowers every once in a while. You got to enjoy that stuff. Otherwise, it'll drive you insane.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I agree.
And the psychedelic experience is a good way.
It kind of ties into that linear action, right? Like that idea that like, you know, life is so complex that it's almost boring to just be on a fucking it's boring to be on a straight line, man. You know, like that is making
it's comfortable. You mentioned it 2 weeks ago about comfort,
right? And it's also like that makes the destination instead of the journey being the destination.
Yeah,
and it's kind of it's unobtainable. Like you're chasing, you're on a wheel.
Dragon,
yeah, you're chasing a carrot. You know,
chasing a damn dragon. Mike knows what the fuck I'm talking. Chasing a dragon. What do we got on the text line?
So I'm going to go back a little bit because the computer screen's going so quick. So we've got dementia is such an ugly, heartbreaking disease.
Yes.
Missy Bliss, I'm Gnostic teachings. The forbidden fruit was knowledge of self.
Yeah.
We have Clay. Coke is Schedule 2 because it's the drug of choice for the rich, the politicians, and their kids.
No doubt.
Psychedelics scare the shit out of them because they can't handle to be mentally challenged and or humbled.
Yeah.
Christopher Rachel Crawford, nice. Good job, Clay. Third Eye. I'm not sure. What else
I'll take it.
Got? Leave my good federal job to grow medicine.
Someone left their good federal job to grow medicine.
Too. Yeah, my bad. I missed a little bit there.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Life is what you make it.
Yep. Oh.
You like to see homo naked?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
He
man.
liked to see homo naked.
Yeah.
Remember from
get,
Joe Dirt? Joe Dirt.
Oh, the guy can't understand.
He's like, hey, you like to see him? No, home is where you make it. You like to see a homo naked? Yeah, that's cool, man. Whatever you want to do. No, home is where you make it. Who was that?
No one
Creole, the guy with the wonky eye.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, the nipple rings from Waterboy.
Yeah. Same butt, same voice, same character.
Yeah, I know. Skilio Bodo. Skilio Bodo. Oh shoot, we have fun here. We have fun. Rama, Rama, Hare, Hare. Oh, let me get something. Mike, put your camera up there and let them know what's going on for a minute.
All right, what's going on?
What's the
What are we
weather
gonna
like,
talk
Mike?
about? Weather's good. We got some heat coming in later this weekend, and it's going to be a scorcher. I'm not looking forward to it. I had to get on my roof today, did all the gutters, washed them all down, and it wasn't too bad. Changed my brakes this morning, and yeah.
Right
Pretty
on.
good.
Not bad.
Yeah. I don't know. Where'd Steve go?
Oh, he's just taking a little run through the tulips. He's got a
So,
little.
yeah, that's all you
little,
guys are going to get.
Little gift for us.
So, yeah. Oh, wow.
Tag someone you think that would like
Look
this.
at that.
Mike, get rid of your picture so they can see this.
Get rid of mine. Oh, yeah.
This is a hemp book bag,
Hey,
and it's super soft.
so if I tag you, does that mean I get it?
No, you can't win. Missy can't win. Jenny can't win.
Okay,
Guys.
good.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, I would just give it to anybody anyway.
Guys, let's try to tag. Tag, who do you think would like this awesome hemp bag? Huh? Hemp. This thing's soft. Feel it. How soft
is.
is it?
Nice.
It is.
Really,
Oh,
really.
wait.
It's really
well,
sweet.
Buddy, what's inside of it?
Some broken dreadlocks.
Clay, Jennifer Barra, Hervey, Gracie. Hervey?
Herfy likey. Oh.
Oh, can you do that?
Can,
What you got there?
never mind.
Those don't
There's
come with
good
the bag.
stuff
By
in
the
the
way, Those
bag.
do not come with the bag.
It's
Those are those salt bags. They make the
It's
bag
Immaculate
fresher.
Conception,
So right
period.
now it's a fresh bag. That's all they are. It's like
No,
Epsom
don't.
salt.
I wouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
that's all.
wouldn't?
It's like Epsom salt. It's
means
like
I
Epsom
would-
salt. Just put them back.
No, it's not like Epsom salt.
Yeah,
you
put 'em
don't
back.
think we're selling bath salts
No,
on here.
what are you talking about? It's to keep the bag fresh. You know, those little packets that say "Do not."
Silica,
Listen,
the
it's-
silica packets.
Yeah, it says "Do not eat."
It's
Silly.
treats.
Gosh, what's wrong with you?
It's treats from George Nolan and Mo Green's Wellness.
Uh-huh.
Gifts from Mo Green's Wellness and
Homegrow Solutions.
Not, you know, I was about to say. I was about to sing that song. Homegrow Solutions, Bono.
Yeah, that's not the same. What is the matter with you?
Tag your friend who is the best one that you like to win this. Let me read this. Thanks for choosing Gypsy Rose. Dang. Most of our goodies, dang it, made by the tags over. Not from robots in a huge factory. Your support ensures their art and culture sustains for future generations. Kind goods, nice folks, peaceful messages. Gypsy Rose. Look at that. It's soft, guys. Look inside here.
It's a really nice hemp bag. It really is nice. Got a nice little laptop sleeve.
Yeah, like a person who owns this is going to own a laptop.
He's the worst.
Sheila Dale Blaser would rock that bag for reals. Yeah, she was literally chasing a dragon on one of her lives. Found a guy dressed as a dragon in the neighborhood and chased him down.
Really?
Dead serious. I love those people.
Hey, Mike, let's do one thing real quick here, bud. Before we give them the streaming pics of
Grace Jones, you're our number one fan.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you guys hear that?
Grace Jones is our number one
Before we
fan.
get on to the wisdom, the wise words of the week, and the streaming picks of the week, why don't we go to Com Break 2, bud?
Com Break 2. Let me hit the mics first, bud.
Whatever you.
Hey girl, where you wanna go? I don't care, I just love you.
Are you hungry? Do you want to get something to eat?
I don't care, I'm kinda hungry.
Well, what sounds good?
Anything sounds good, you pick.
How about some Mexican?
No, I had that for lunch yesterday.
How about we get some Italian food?
Ew.
Okay, now you're not saying anything and just giving me a
I just want
look.
something delicious.
What does that even mean?
I want to sit outside.
Applebee's then?
Applebee's
No,
is
Applebee's.
gross.
Applebee's
I'm not
is
eating
good.
Applebee's.
I don't know why you're always
Applebee's fries
on
are
Applebee's.
disgusting.
Applebee's is one of
They're
my favorite darn
gross.
places to go ever.
I'm not eating Applebee's.
I wanna go to
Truman's. Let's go to Truman's. Soulard, go to Truman's. I wanna go to Truman's. In Soulard, take me to Truman's. We agree on Truman's. I agree on Truman's. Soulard, I love Truman's. Soulard, Truman, 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 Truman.
Truman's and Soulard, a place we can all agree upon.
James Carlton. James Carlton. James Carlton. You gotta get your insurance. Gotta get that State Farm insurance.
You think you found the best insurance agent in the game? Well, I got news for you. I did, and it's James Carlton. State Farm. CarltonInsurance.net.
961-4800.
Hey everybody, I'm just making this post as a little public service announcement. I recently had a roof leak and I got online and called the hashtag Roof Boys. They showed up and they didn't have a truck. They came out of the woods near my home, which was odd. When they showed up, I'm pretty sure they were children. The little one was aggressive. He was beating on my garage. He was shirtless and had a tattoo that said Bug Life. And the older one didn't have a ladder and said he would climb my roof by getting on the pillar, and he was slapping a spatula around, which I don't know what a spatula does for roofing. So if you want a reputable roofer, I recommend you go to Lifetime Roofing and Renovation, located in Webster Groves. They've been around since 2005, and they're grown men.
Hey guys, it's me, Kippy the Crazy Koala Bear, and I'm here to tell you about James Carlton Insurance.
Kids, quiet down.
It's the best.
Kids, quiet down and listen to Kippy.
Grown-ups need insurance, and Uncle James can help.
Right on.
Grown-ups need insurance. He's got the best reviews on Yelp. Grown-ups need insurance if they want to protect their house.
Yes, sir.
Grown-ups need insurance if they want to properly bury a spouse.
That's a bit morbid.
Grown-ups need insurance if they drive a truck.
Okay.
Grown-ups need insurance just so they don't get...
Whoa, Kippy, you can't...
Well, I was just going to say
cannot.
get in trouble.
Okay, well, it
you
sounded
don't
like you
wanna
were going
get
to
in trouble.
say something else. James Carlton, State Farm Insurance. You can find him online at carltoninsurance.net, or you can call him at 314-961-4800.
Oh, Mike, why don't you switch up that headline up there, bud? Turn that eye off. Nope, where you're at. Over to the right. Turn that eye off. Put the other eye on.
Put the other eye on. There you go. Yeah. The guys, which one of your hippy dippy friends going to sport this thing at the next festival, slanging pieces out?
We're going to put a Hoosier Sophisticate shirt in there, too.
Are we? A Hoosier Sophisticate hat and shirt?
Yeah.
You ain't getting one of these. Maybe.
We know about that. Baltimore
Maybe.
or
I'm getting one of them.
Oh, what you know about that, man? I don't know much.
Don't know about
I don't know much, but I know I love you. Let me be all I need to know. Grace Johns is our number one fan. I'll say it right now. I'll say it every day of my life. I don't care. I'll say it. Clay Stallings is a close second. If you haven't checked out the Home Grow series, check that out. Evolution Mag. What's up, Evolution Mag? Follow them on all the Facebook things.
I really
we love
can't
Clay.
wait to go out to Bo's place. It's going to be great. It's going to be set
I
up.
love Bo. I love
We're gonna walk you through
Proactive
the process.
Solutions.
I love Proactive Solutions. Dig on them. I love everybody that makes this thing happen.
For sure. You've seen all the commercials, seen the Sweet Leaf Stomp. We saw people doing the Sweet Leaf Stomp in Sweet Leaf, which was madness, pandemonium. Jason was doing it. He's like, I don't even know what this is. I haven't seen the show, but it's a stomp. It's a wiggle. A little round, little tickle. Yeah, dude, that's what they were doing. All of them were in there doing it. I'm talking 500
Steve actually
people. Excoriated?
Yeah. When the City County Line was warming up, one of them had the audacity to start crip walking.
What was that? Well, they called it sea walking to be cool though.
Yeah, clown walking.
My wise words of the week, words of wisdom of the week, which have been trying to be stolen by I won't mention names. Grace and Rachel tried to make a coup against us and steal it for their own personal gain and benefit, which I was
okay.
The two people you would just like the universe throwing you a curveball. Two people you would least expect it. Rachel and Grace. Tag teaming it. The tag team of deception.
Okay.
They're like Sin Cara and fuck the guy.
I don't know this reference.
Yeah, Sin Cara and Oliver. No, Rey Mysterio. The guy Luchador guys.
All right.
Deception.
I'm a big
tag
Rey
team
Mysterio
of
guy.
deception.
Okay.
But yeah, they tried to do that to me. They tried to steal my wisdom of the week. Well, guess what? It ain't happening. This is a Hoosier wise words of wisdom of the week.
Hang on. Let's try that again.
Okay.
This is the Hoosiers' wise words of wisdom of the week.
I've been kind of talking about mine all night. I've been really trying to dive in. What's my part in all this? What's my role? I guess just to be better and try to check my blind side. Blind Side, that movie with Sandra Bullock. And,
true story.
Check my blind side, make sure I'm not a complete asshole on just with my own ignorance. And if you haven't heard Nina Simone bust on the piano, I wish I knew how good it feels to be free.
It's amazing.
Busting that out, just so much emotion. Listening to it with fresh ears. So I've been kind of talking about it, taking a look at myself, and that's what the wise lyrics of the week have made me think inwardly about my own bullshit and what I can do to be better. And that's where we're gonna have another Hoosier River Kids Day, July 26th. I think I'll check that. But that's my role. We're gonna get some more kids out there. We're gonna have a fun day.
Try and create a positive experience for the youth coming up.
Yep.
Like find wholesome, fun things to do at their disposal that doesn't necessarily depend on someone else entertaining them. Like finding a way to enjoy nature and be a part of it and play the game that's happening. Like I think it's awesome.
I'm gonna make Landon some cookies too.
You ought to. Little worm cookies.
Worm cookies. It was funny. I was telling, I was like, I'm gonna make worm cookies for this kid because I got like this little back and forth going. And there was a chick at the graduation party, and she's like, "You're gonna make worm cookies?" And I go, "Yeah, but I'm gonna put some pubes in there. And she goes, and I was like, Jesus Christ Almighty!
I think I maybe told you the story once before, but my buddy's dad it was just after deer season, and he had cooked up some. They were like these little
venison
like strap nuggets like that he made, right? But he filmed this video of him cooking them, and he was basically just he cut off the deer's balls as he was skinning it, and then he was chopping them all up, and then he breaded them, and he shows himself cooking these deer nuts or whatever, and he's like, "Oh guys, we gotta watch this video," as they're jamming on this delicious backstrap. And everybody is like,
nutsack.
They think it's the deer's nuts that they're eating, and they're like just letting the food fall out of their mouth.
Oh, but it wasn't the nuts.
No, it wasn't. He got them good.
He got them real good. You've never told me that story.
I told you that.
I don't think you have. I don't think you have.
I got some wisdom of the week. It was on Duncan Trussell podcast again.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
He had Riley Reid, the famous porn star.
I was unfamiliar with her work.
I'm sure you were. And her name is Ashley Matthews, I guess, in real life, and she's on the deal as Ashley Matthews, right? So it was like kind of hidden in there.
I would never jerk off to an Ashley Matthews.
Yuck. A lot of the talk was about spirituality.
I don't think anyone's first name is Matthews.
Maybe
Matthews Dickey.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. Is maybe that's too. Anyway.
Damn it, Mike's right.
So it was kind of they were talking on the podcast a lot about spirituality, about atheism, about what happens after you die.
Yeah.
They're talking about what it's like to choose a career path that is so outside of the norm that it's like there's a bit of ultimate freedom to it. But then how when you make your pleasure your career, all of a sudden it's kind of the same idea of what's happening with the weed industry. It's like the fun gets taken out of it. People think that you would be exploring more kinks, but when you go home, you're having these more vanilla, romantic experiences that you're not necessarily experiencing on camera. That's neither here nor there. That was just one of the topics they covered. They start talking.
Well, our cam show is much more intimate.
Oh, totally. OnlyFans.com/Hoosier Sophisticate nude. So there was this thing where they're talking about what happens after you die, and he starts telling a story about when his dad was dying. He went to Raghu Marcus, who's a friend of his who now runs the Ram Dass Center, and Raghu Marcus he goes to him and he says, I'm having a hard time with my dad's death. I just don't want him to suffer, And Raghu Marcus says, well, you got to stop right there, and what you need to do as you're processing the death of your father is you need to remove yourself from it completely, because at this point in his life, this is 100% his part of the journey. You can decide how you want to feel and react to it. That's fine, but it's not for you to impose what you think is the way to go at this moment. And just hearing that was it was really interesting. It wasn't just not just applicable to the death of a loved one. It's applicable to so much. I've always been a very as I get older, I see even more so, and it helps me try and keep myself in check. But an egocentric person, I think all of us are to a degree, right? Like we all are reacting to the reality that we're all perceiving, and so when problems arise, whether they're my problems or not, if they're a close friend of mine's problem, it's like my go-to is what is it that I can do to improve this situation for that person? And I think that is a noble pathway. But in certain circumstances, in all of the circumstances, you have to remember that even with your best of intentions, it's not about you. So you have to be constantly open and willing to hear what it is that people maybe need, not necessarily what you think they need, but what they need at that point in their journey.
That's the curveball. It's so easy, simple. It's the path you should take. You should always try to help. What can you do? That's great, man.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you're in some instances. People got to go through some shit.
Yeah,
man.
Your interference is actually, it's throwing.
You do what you can do, but you can only do what you can do.
Yeah, right. And you are not the outcome of that situation.
Yeah.
That the outcome of the situation doesn't define you. The effort that you put into it maybe defines you in a
no doubt.
in a way. But the outcome is not yours. You can have an expectation of an outcome, but chances are it's not going to meet that expectation.
Yeah.
In your way, so you have to kind of constantly be empathetic, or definitely introspective, and have a wider sense of perspective of the big situation and where you actually do fit into it. And that's something that I am constantly trying to work on, is like, maybe don't think of the situation about how I fit into it first. Maybe think of the situation as it is, and then see how I can best fit into it.
Once you start to learn yourself and learn other people too, you can better know that when that thought first comes in your head, it's like sometimes you love something so much. Some parents will love something so much, like, I never want anything wrong to happen to my child. It's like, no, sometimes they got to go through a little bit of suffering, a little bit of discomfort. There's a balance there. There's choices to be made. You don't want your kid, like, my kid's drowning, I need to teach him, this is life sometimes. It's like, no, he's throwing a temper tantrum at this. I'm not giving in to this. Like, this is where I make my stand. There's all these balances of love. And we always talk about love and how love and everything that you're talking about, it takes different forms. Mm-hmm. It's all these different forms. Mm-hmm. It's all these little lessons, because then life would get dull.
Well, I think if you act out of love, then
you're okay.
Then the reflection is, your part of that reflection is the best that you could be in that. So, like, as long as I think people are always kind of trying to do things with the best of intentions.
Well, then you don't want to become a Lenny though either.
Right? Totally, absolutely, no doubt. Like, I think it was an old maybe Tim Ferriss podcast or something like that, and this guy was like, intentions are great and all, but if your actions don't meet up with your intentions, or if they all the time, then your intentions can get you in trouble. Like, you may not have intended to step on my shoe, but motherfucker, my brand new shoes are scuffed. There is a payout, for your actions. And so, that's, I don't know. We're getting off on a tangent there. But
that I want to get off on a little bit more of a tangent. Our page sometimes hasn't happened lately. Kind of shut down a little bit, but it was like, what's up with this place? It's all this heavy shit now. Safe space and holding space. What are the differences?
Oh, well, I think that safe space has a negative connotation. I think the idea of a safe space is a place where you can come in and share whatever your ideas are and not be attacked for them.
Judged.
Judged
is a great word.
Holding space it's an action. That is when you are literally envisioning a bubble around a person that needs you in that moment. You are blocking out any of the bad shit that could be coming to them externally, and you're really sitting with them and trying to connect with them on a level that allows them to move through some shit, to know that they're not alone. But you're not imposing your will on that space. You're just simply making sure that the space doesn't collapse in. Right.
So it made me think about the Matthews family.
So 100%. Like, all we can do is hold we're actively doing what we can do, and so now what we can do is we can fucking put a bubble around and we can hold space. But a safe space, people have this idea that they can come and talk about whatever their ideas are, and it's utopian. It's the idea of I would like that. I think that's what the original idea of Sophisticated Hoosiers was. Like, you got a weird thing that you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Is a conspiracy theory or whatever. Please come here and do
a weird kink, whatever.
Yeah, man. Totally. And so then, it is frustrating to see people that can't see other people's ideas, no matter how crazy they might think they are, and not be shitty about it. Because I just don't know really what you have to gain in that, And I've personally never been shamed into changing my mind. You know, and that's something
You've
that
just
I
been
tried to
shamed into orgasm.
Oh, climax all the time. Yeah, for sure. But I've never been shamed into changing my mind. And you know, like,
that's so beautiful.
But you know, I mean, honestly, like, I feel like people are more willing. We were talking about realizing the error of our ways, checking our blind spots. All of those things come as a result of being able to be corrected, and be corrected in a loving way. Yeah. You know, and sometimes it's especially hard because some shit and thought patterns are just, they're too fucking far gone, you know. But pick your battles on that. Like, it's not
pick your
like
battles, bud.
It's pick your battles, bud. Don't be a hoser.
Yeah, come on.
You know, like it is. It's one of those things where, like, if we're talking about checking racism, yes, check racism. Do that. You don't have to fucking hold anybody's hand. You don't have to hold anybody's hand because they're being a fucking asshole. Okay, but on the flip side of that, like, somebody's got an idea about aliens or conspiracy theories or anything that you really can't personally verify not being true. I don't call it. Yeah, fine.
I love the flat
but
earth
I love
shit.
the flat earth shit too. And you know what? Every now and then they'll post something, and I'm like, oh, no.
Shit. I know. Here's me. Every time I see those posts, I go, I've never been up there.
Yeah.
That's how I think about it.
The point is that
I've never seen it.
I don't have to fucking accept it to not respect the
For
person
sure. I
talking
still love
about
you,
it.
even if you're
I don't have to accept
that
all of
shit.
your ideas in order to love you. I don't need to do that because I have seen the bigger picture. Because of things like psychedelics and meditation have removed me enough to be able to see that it takes all of us having crazy ideas for us to move forward, for us to draw new scientific experiments off of.
Da Vinci was a crazy person. Einstein was crazy.
The line
guy.
between genius and crazy is real blurry, man.
Yeah, they always call
and that's the deal.
nuts.
Like Dali, Salvador Dali was a maniac. Go look at his paintings. He was unbelievable. He was unbelievable. And when you see it, like, this is something that, like, I'd never really had an appreciation for until a few years ago. Because you see Dali's, like, surrealism, and surrealism is definitely, like, my favorite expression of art, for sure. And you see the pictures, and they're mind-bending. You're like, whoa, this guy was really on one in the 40s and 50s and 60s. Like, this guy was really painting some shit.
Like
and
a
he
mustache.
said, I don't do drugs. I am drugs, you know? And but you would see these pictures and they're mind-blowing. And then you realize that, dude, these paintings are 17 feet tall. Like,
what?
They're huge. They're immense paintings of the Madonna and all of these different things. They're huge.
His elephant one with the reflection of, like, the swan and
anyway,
one of my favorite
you know,
things.
you think about, like, some of the craziest people on the craziest interview, madmen, you know, in what we would think is a civilized society. These guys are the ones that they're helping define the outer edge so that we can keep. It's like, you ever play like Diablo or any of those old like computer exploring games where the map was kind of dark.
Nah, dude, I was into pussy.
Your character's in the dark, and as you're crawling through the screen, the light around your character lightens up more of the dark area.
Yeah.
You know, like you like these different little
games of maps,
exploratory adventure games, and it's. What these people that think differently than all of us do, these people that have these crazy ideas that we can't even entertain, Copernicus, Galileo, like, all of these people are throwing an idea out there.
Because you can throw those people in there too. They're
the
madmen and the geniuses.
Because
like, that's why everything is nuanced. That's why there's a yin and yang. That's why there's a crazy idea.
We talk about Hitler, but titans of our industry were funding war efforts in Europe before. You know,
and like, there were worse people than Hitler out there.
So, like, many of the brightest minds.
You're right.
Some of the biggest technological advances that we made have been made by bigots. You know, I mean, like the world has been rooted in bigotry, and that's I mean. I don't tear on statues. I'm not really that emotionally connected to any statues, but, like, it is like, you're gonna tear them all down. That's where we came from. It's where we've all come from. Is like, and it's not just a white people being racist.
Well, you
thing.
reenact the Civil
This
War.
is not me deflecting either, because the Black Lives Matter talk right now is so incredibly important. But when we're talking about racism through the ages and tribalism through the ages, this is something that's been a very big part of our human nature. Is like protect our patch of land from people that look different from us, talk different from us, look threatening to us. This is something that goes back to us being cavemen, and so tangent again. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. That's good because the tribal nature, I think, has been being extinguished with us being able to communicate with everybody.
I think we're making strides toward it, but like I say all the time,
we're accepting more of the tribes, the different tribes, because we realize our resources aren't at stake here. Like, we don't need to keep our ideas and our tricks of the trade to our own tribe. Like, we don't need to war with them. Maybe we do it in different ways. We have soccer matches against each other. Then we get to a point where we're not warring against each other and stuff. Like, I don't know. I think the awakening.
I love your optimism, and I'm with it. I'm with it. I think that we're learning things so fast that all I want to see, if we're trying to expanding the conversation is ultimately what brings us all together. Yeah. And so in order for people to learn, the conversation has to stay on. And that takes two responsible parties to not allow themselves to be to expect more out of themselves than to sling empty insults at internet strangers, because how is that serving you, right? Like, it's not. There's a much better way to make people accept your ideas. Maybe not do your ideas, but at least accept your line of thinking.
Well, we're seeing a real symbiotic relationship between the angry person and the person who gets angry at the troll and the troll. Yeah. There's a very they don't get anything from it, but it nourishes the shittiest parts inside of them.
Oh, no doubt.
That's why it's nice to have a buddy who I can text and be like, all your ideas for the show ever have been... Oh, I thought you were going to hit a beep. All your ideas for the show have been garbage, and from day one. And then he'll hit me with something like, yeah, your dad never loved you. And I'm like, Jesus, Lord almighty, you think? Yeah. Like, oh, man, it hit deep, dude. Why are you hitting so deep, man?
Because this is war.
This is war. I'm a prayer warrior. There's someone on my feed. I got some new friends, and someone on my feed was like, I need prayer warriors for the bikers heading to Seattle. They're going to clean it up, boys. Clean it up, boys. Prayer warriors. So I commented, I was like, prayer warriors, mount up. And then I put, shooting at the walls of heartache, capital bang, bang. I am the prayer warrior. Put that right underneath it. And I was like...
As Pat Benatar? You went from Warren G to
Scandal?
Pat Benatar?
Yeah.
Dang.
Is that Pat Benatar?
I think it's just
Scandal?
Warrior.
Is it Scandal?
It's Warrior. Hey, you have your guitar?
And then I go... this isn't done. And then I go...
you don't have your guitar?
Yeah, I do. Got it. It's near. And then the last thing I said is like, I just got a new 10-speed. And I'll pray the fuck out of somebody. Let's do this shit. Bikers and prayer warriors. So I was like, I'll pray the fuck out of somebody.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Get your guitar. Sing me a fucking song, Bard. Play me a tune, Bard.
Oh, what'd you say? Okay. It's gonna be alright now. It's gonna be alright. What'd you guys say? Did you guys want me to play that song that we sing every week?
We like movies, so do we. We like it, so do you. Streaming picks of the week. It's the streaming picks of the week. It's the streaming picks of the week. We like the internet too.
just called to say I love you. I thought you were going to play that for a little while. I was going to leave a message on your phone.
You were?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
Played a little Avett Brothers tune. What are you watching this week, Steve-O?
I watched 13, man. Netflix. Go watch it. Go watch some of that stuff. Go learn
It's just
about
called
some
13.
of this. Just called 13 about the 13th Amendment. It's fucking crazy, man. Like, it's just crazy. History's wild. History is wild. We watch
Took you
movies
for a ride,
and
huh?
stuff. I know all the history. No, I don't know any of the history. But the history I do know, I was like, I know all the history. You know, I was like, I get it. But they were like, here's Peanut Guy, Washington Carver. They're like, here's him. Here's Harriet Tubman. Here's Martin Luther King. Here's Malcolm X, and he's kind of a wild card. Okay, Black History Month. Chop, chop, chop. We did it. Okay, cool. Jesus. White Jesus. That's my grade school experience. Black History Month. Bada bing, bada bing. We hit the Peanut Guy. We did? Oh, good. All right, George Washington Carver. We got him. Okay, bada bing, bada bing. Back to white Jesus. Back to white Jesus. So that was always a weird thing. So 13 made me rethink all of the schooling I got and hearing from just hearing the stories, man. It wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago that people weren't batting an eye to a shit. So you have to just realize, what am I not batting an eye to now? Is it just not as bad in retrospect? Is it just not as bad in comparison? Or do I really need to say, oh, any of it's bad? The cancer, oh, it's better because there's less of it. Be like, no, let's get rid of all of it while we're here. You know, let's get rid of all of it. 13, Netflix, great watch. Tough watch sometimes, but man, get through it, baby. Get through it.
Mike, I think yours builds onto that one, bud. Why don't you tell us what you watched?
Oh, so good.
So I dove into the Dave Chappelle show 846.
Yeah.
And, it hits close to home for me because I grew up with a lot of different ethnic group ethnicities in the neighborhoods that
they prefer to be called
dude,
exotic, like I called it earlier.
Either way,
Jesus
I've been
Christ
in
almighty.
6 or 7 different schools. So, it was...
Damn.
I've seen a lot of kids. I've met a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'd say 35% of my police interactions were negative, and I take full blame for them. I shouldn't have been doing what I was doing, but the rest of them were just because of the way I looked.
Yeah.
And that hit home for me. And Joanna, oh man, she completely understood like what I went through as a kid and growing up as a teenager, so I recommend everybody just give it a chance.
It's one of the best.
It's unbelievable.
Dave Chappelle has, he was already knocking on the door, but he's the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time.
And he's our guy.
Yeah.
He's our guy. He's our generation's guy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember years ago, even at the beginning of the changing station, we were kind of like, there are no Bill Hicks. There are no George Carlin.
Well, and that's the thing.
There are no guys really breaking it down. God.
Our
Dang.
philosophers have always been our comedians, dude. At least in the last 30 years. But really going back, I'm sure that Plato and, Socrates, these were guys that were getting their ideas across through humor, and dude, it wasn't for laughs. And that's the best part of it is Dave Chappelle could fucking kill us with jokes any given night. You give him 3 topics and he could slay all of us if he wanted to. He can and he will do that.
Yep.
But for 9 minutes, you're going to hear
some serious
shit and you're going to feel it. And this was kind of on the heels too, like a buddy of mine from Kickapoo is a comedian, Kenny DeForest. We've talked about him before. He tweeted out a story about Dave Chappelle, like the greatest night of his in comedy. He used to run the Comedy at the Knitting Factory up in New York. Hannibal Buress, I think, started the show. Some big hitters in comedy up in New York, went to this thing. And he tells a story about Dave Chappelle coming in one night, just check it out. And he's just lobbing it. He's like, hey, you think he wants to come up? And he did. And he came up there, and then, somebody talked about police brutality.
Yeah,
And
that's what he was doing. They said name topics.
You guys want to do it? Okay, fine, we'll do it. He starts to go into it, and then some little white hipster gal said, well, life's tough, you know. And then he called her on it, checked her on it. And I'm sure she was wildly embarrassed in the front row. And then someone came backstage and after the show and told Dave, hey, you know, that girl, that stupid white girl wants to come back here and say, hey, I told her to get lost. And he said, no, bring her back here. And he brought her back, and she broke down in tears.
He's like fucking King Solomon.
And he said, and she apologized, you know, rightfully so, and realized the errors of her way in that moment. And he said, that's all we can ask you to do is if you learn that you've been doing something wrong, you correct it. He goes, that's all we can do. You're good. You know, and that is how
he boned her, didn't he?
I probably dipped her down something fierce, buddy. But that's how you change minds. That's how the world is changed.
Yeah.
You know, and
I love that route.
It's one person at a time. And you're fucking good at it.
Because you kind of go.
Yeah, I think you and I. It's so funny, like the dynamic between us sometimes with shit that gets slung online. Because there's time where I'm like, "All right, motherfucker, gloves off," and Steve's like, "No, buddy, it's okay, man. You're just a mirror of me, and I love you for everything." And I'm like, "Dude, fuck every ancestor this dude had. I'll burn his bill," you know. And then there's other times where I'm like,
a weird one.
And there's other times where like, "Oh, I'm gonna love this guy through." And Steve's like, "You see this motherfucker?"
Yeah, I know. We got a good
So it's good. It's a nice little play there, man. Super important to watch. And what's cool is, man, is that we do have, with technology, with things like Netflix, we have the opportunity to see really well done. It's how I'm a visual learner, man. I will retain most of the stuff I watch. I'll have to read something twice before I can. It's just how I've always been. Yep. I could memorize Wayne's World, the movie, front to back by the third time I watched it, but if it would have been Wayne's World, the book, it's not. You know what I mean? It's just like I'm a parrot in that sort. And so like when we have, you know, Amazon Prime and Netflix and all these things that we have great documentaries telling stories. And you were alluding to it earlier, man. Truth is stranger than fiction, man. There are some great stories. That's why I get lost in those art documentaries all the time because these artists they're crazy people, you know, and they live crazy lives. They're geniuses and they're exploring the outer edge, and it's awesome. 846 was awesome, dude. It was a compelling.
You have to watch it.
It's something that it is. It's something that if you want to be, you were talking about people complaining about, you know, all the negativity on the page and everything. We never promised. When we promised, we actually said in our old song, "Get out of your safe space."
Yeah.
And polish up your foil hats. Because the idea is we're going to talk about crazy stuff, and if it's affecting you negatively emotionally, let that shit go and just kind of try and, you know, absorb information. Well, the same idea is like when someone says Black Lives Matter, man, like don't hear your life doesn't matter. Hear what they're saying. Like they're just saying this part right here.
It's a voice
and
of the oppressed,
and I was, man, like as somebody who wants to see what my place in that is, and like, no, but man, like all kinds of people struggle. Like we're all going. Yeah. That's where we're at because we can only paint our experience on. I'm not fucking privileged. I'm not economically privileged. I didn't have shit. You know. That's not what we're talking about, guys. And it took me a while, and I'm learning that. And I'm trying to be better. I'm learning that. Going back to Kenny DeForest, like back whenever the Michael Brown thing happened, Run the Jewels was playing a show at the Ready Room down in the Grove. Okay. And I remember there was a video that was released of Killer Mike talking. I think this was when the verdict maybe came out on Darren Wilson or something. And I remember watching Killer Mike up there talking to the crowd because he's obviously a leader in the black community and in the voice of the youth, a very well educated. Like this dude's got the fucking history. He's going to tell you how the war on drugs marginalized his neighborhood and his community growing up, and he says it eloquently, and he says it with fucking anger and passion, you know, behind his voices. And as he's passionately speaking to all of them, he cracks, man. This grown ass man who looks intimidating, he cracks and he's crying, and I'm like, fuck. I remember watching that, and I'm like, I'm trying to get it, but I don't know that I can ever get it. All I can do is listen. And I remember having a conversation with Kenny that night on Facebook about it because it was like the two of us were like, oh, fuck, this isn't something that we can just straight up ignore. You know, it was yet another thing that pushed me kind of into my libertarian ideals, because I saw like all kinds of shit that I felt the Democratic Party did to marginalize and low-income communities and turn them into voting numbers and buying votes. And I saw all of this insane hypocrisy that Republicans had about the police state, but yet still wanting a limited government and preaching about freedom. And we're the most incarcerated population on the planet. And, you know, and over 40-something% of African Americans and Latinos make up the prison population, and they don't even make up 30% of the actual population, you know? And all of those things, like, once you're just kind of open to listening to it, you can see an overarching problem, okay? And you don't have to paint that on your brother who's a good dude, who's a cop, who's done it the right way the whole time. You don't have to do that in order to hear what's being said, and vice versa. You know, and vice versa. And you don't have to paint every negative experience that you've had with police officers on every one of them. It's fucking tough, man. Life has nuance. It's fucking big, and Dave Chappelle called it out. And
the road home's tough sometimes.
He's the fucking leader, man. Dave Chappelle's the leader in the clubhouse. I can't believe it hasn't happened yet, because they are buddies and everything. But if Chappelle ever goes on Joe Rogan,
oh, dude,
it'll be the most listened to fucking thing.
You're absolutely right.
Ever.
Yeah.
And it should be.
And they should go 4 hours.
It should be. And they could go 4 hours, and I guarantee you'll be busting your gut laughing the whole time. Kevin Hart was on Joe Rogan. There was a 13-minute segment where they talked about how Dave. This was before his special came out. 846, talking about how he was the GOAT, because he's doing it on his own terms. Yeah. Because when the money was put in front of his face, he goes, "Hang on a minute."
He's got no fear.
No fear, and well, that's the thing, is he left on his terms. And he came back on his terms, and when he came back on his terms, he said, "I'm talking about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. You guys have been wanting me back for a decade. Well, I got some shit. I learned some shit. I'm back." And he's fucking amazing. I didn't mean to fucking bogart your pick, but I'm just.
Mike, so tell us about that pick again.
Yeah. my pick wasn't near as deep as either of yours.
Couldn't have explained it any better.
You guys want a little. You guys want a little levity, something fun to watch that'll feel good. So I know you'll dig it. I think you will anyway. It's a musical, but it's. I finally got around to watching Rocket Man, and I dug it, man. I dug it.
Yeah?
It was cool. Yeah, it's kind of. No, it's obviously it's
Mona Lisa's Mad Hatter.
If it did, it would have been at the very end where I maybe fell out.
Because
I fell out at the very end of it. I'm gonna finish it tonight.
So it's all Elton songs.
It's all Elton songs. It's kind of done in the same vein as Across the Universe a little bit, but not really. Like, actually, that's not true. It's following Elton's life. He's kind of telling his story from rehab, where he's had it opens up with him saying, "I'm Elton John and I'm an alcoholic," and then they go back to the therapist is kind of walking him through this, and as he starts to tell his childhood story, well, then they kick into a song. You know, and it's the kid singing it, you know, and then it's everybody, and they're progressing through his career and everything. And it's the kid from The Kingsman that plays him, like Taron Egerton or Eger. His name was Egg in the movie, but I can't think. Taron Egerton or something like that. Something like that.
Yeah.
Did a great job. Does a great job. Yeah, he sings the songs. I mean, he doesn't have Elton's voice. He has his voice. But
he's the guy who sings in that cartoon movie, the cartoon singing movie.
Oh, really? And sing?
Taron Egerton, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So he's the one that plays Elton. Pretty convincing.
Yeah.
You know, it was fun. I'm a big Elton John fan.
I love Elton,
and so one thing that it was like, I'm never surprised because Elton fucking rocks. Like, he is a rock and roller dude. Like, that's one thing. Like, Elton is the dude. Like, as a kid, I always knew him as the ballads, but it wasn't until like I was maybe a late teenager when I really I'm not talking about like Crocodile Rock. I'm talking about like All the Young Girls Love Alice, Funeral for a Friend, like Love Lies Bleeding. Like, those are rock and roll fucking songs, and the way that they intertwine the story into the songs, and his performance at the Troubadour where he fucking blew up and before he got real big and everything, it's pretty fucking cool.
That's cool.
It's pretty cool, man. I enjoyed it.
I'll check.
I liked it better than the Queen movie. personally.
Yeah, it was all right. It was pretty good.
And I mean, the Queen movie was
It was all
fine.
right.
It was
It was all
fine.
right. I like
because
Queen's music.
That's the whole deal. It's like
Yeah.
I'm gonna celebrate anything made about the Beatles or made about Elton John or made about, like I'm gonna have fun with that. But this one I felt was like.
Did you see that yesterday?
Kind of fun.
Movie?
I haven't watched that yet.
It's not bad. It's all right. It's a good little watch.
It's funny because as a kid I always kind of had that thought experiment. Like if I had a time machine, what if I could go back and like have all these.
Well, it's funny because
these
he's like,
songs
"What are the lyrics?" Like, because he's like, "I know this song, but he keeps forgetting like certain lyrics." I'm like, that would be the toughest part.
Oh,
like,
that
you
would be
can't just
maddening,
fit
wouldn't it?
something
That
in
would be
that's not the
maddening.
Beatles. Like,
You could,
it was
I
pretty
guess.
good. Should we sing them out on a song?
I guess. What do you got? What's the topic? What's the topic for
It's
tonight?
how good things are gonna be getting. You know, let's give them something happy.
Okay.
I got something just.
Everybody, don't you know things will be just fine? Hey there, everyone, let's all just drink the wine, fall in love. Everything will be just fine. Everything will be mine 'cause I'm really like a pretty little pig. Give me all your money or I'll fucking give you a shit right in your. I love everybody, love everyone. Even though they make it hard on us sometimes. I love everybody, have some fun. And I live my life on the run. I'm an outlaw.
Stomp, stomp. Wiggle, wiggle. Tickle, tickle. It'll be fine.
It'll be
Fine.
Fine.
Everything will be fine, Hoosiers.
Totally
Maybe it
fine.
won't. Who fucking knows? Who knows? Guys, thanks for doing the show with us.
That's a late one tonight. What is it, 10
Yeah.
o'clock? This might be the latest we've ever gone,
2
Phil.
hours and 36 minutes.
Well,
We started late because I had to fix everything.
it's been real.
Love y'all.
And it's been fun. I dare to say, Mike, it's been real fun. Et nomine Patri, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.
Amen.
Closing logos.
Yeah, you want me to go to end mics?